for DFM that they, once they hit 6, it's not as glaring a weakness. I think they do have a pretty terrifying team fight with the ultimates coming online, but it's interesting. SHG have opted into this 2v2 lane. I think I mean, realistically, neither team suffers greatly opting into the 1v2. I think possibly, realistically, Karkun and Harp should be more of a threat in the early game, assuming that the Winters fight does land.
Yeah, it will. I mean, in general, you know, they're going to be pretty happy with getting shoved in here for the first wave, and as it crashes eventually, they're going to push back, and that's when the Ash Braum will take over control of the lane. Fate and Arya trading pretty heavily, but ultimately, as is many of the mid lane matchups, you kind of trade health bar for mana, and we see, you know, Arya a little bit lower in terms of their health pool, but still higher in mana, and ultimately Fate running completely out does mean that both mids are just going to take a recall here. Tear of the Goddess for Fate, whereas it's just going to be the Amp Tome for Arya.
Yeah, again, I don't see a huge amount of kill threat out of the mid lane, assuming that Arya can learn to dodge. Until we sort of see jungle gank intervention, maybe just a little bit of extra threat going the way of Fate, just because of the sheer nature of Talia's combo and just being able to stack damage. Not the electrocute Talia though, phase shift, so just looking for a little bit more reposition power in the team fight. Yeah, I think this early game should just be if DFM and SHG are smart, I think it should really just be a handshake, get a couple of ejectors up. 6 is where you're really looking to start making things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I mean, I just can't wait for the first fights, honestly. It's probably going to come in about 2 minutes when the Void Grubs are up, or I mean, we could just see a trade, but ultimately, you know, that's generally where we see them. There's not, I think, to, you know, DFM's good graces, there's not that much lockdown to support the Equalizer. There's kind of, I mean, if Fate finds a massive shove, then yes, that can be enough. There's the Solar Flare, but that won't be online till a reasonable amount of time later. So
I think it's going to come down to the Weaver's Wall Equalizer combo. You lock someone into a corner where they can't move, and then just drop it on top of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty hard pressed to do that though. Karkun ultimately needs to misposition pretty badly for that to occur. Azir can just slide on over that wall. Ultimately though, I mean, there's so much pressure on Karkun here. Really, most of the threat they see is onto him. You know, Arya having that mobility does just get him out of harm's way against a lot of what we're seeing. Fate admittedly does sort of disallow any good Shriemer shuffles from coming through if they do find themselves at the right place. Arya going to be losing a considerable amount of damage. Also, I guess we should mention, last time we saw Arya on the Azir, he did go for like a one-shot style build. Yeah. He can actually do that a little bit more effectively this game, considering there is no one that typically wants to build a whole lot of tankiness. Well, yes, the Leona will get some tank items. It's nothing in comparison to the likes of the Ornns.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more geared towards a support item. You're not, unfortunately, as a Leona or a support player, often getting that chance to just greed for items that are purely going to benefit yourself. It doesn't happen all too often. But I think the saving grace of that fact that Karkun is so immobile is just that there are so many abilities that can then punish in terms of Glacial Fizzy. You've got the Emperor's Divide, you've got the Cyclone coming out, and not to mention Call of the Forge God and the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. So anyone that is jumping onto Karkun is likely just going to be locked down and obliterated. Yep,
absolutely. A lot of pressure around this mid lane. Trying to bridge the gap here. It's going to allow Fate on the Talia to move on up. Going to be able to match on Arya. You see both bot laners now joining this upcoming fight. Ray Farki does get priority in his lane. Is going to be the first to move up to join. And it looks like DFM putting a lot of priority around trying to collect these grubs. Ray Farki will be losing some XP and whatnot if he doesn't teleport down to bot lane immediately. Well, at least for now, it's DFM starting up these grubs. Level 6, the Horn will be available.
Yeah, I think SHG can't afford to really fight this. That Call of the Forge God and a choke point like they are currently in is a pretty problematic thing. But the teleport coming in, Evie is going to be here with the Equalizer. Also great in choke points.
Yeah, it definitely is. Arya, you see him trying to zone away. It's at least one of the Void Grubs there. In fact, it's 2 of the Void Grubs picked up by DFM. Weaver's Wall comes in, Harp. He's in a hell of a predicament, but he's got that Braum shield up, and it's a nice knockup, lands onto Gang, and ultimately at least one of these Void Grubs is going to be picked up for SoftBank as Courage is going to continue going forward. The Equalizer is great, but it doesn't lock down anyone for long enough as Evie and Ray Farki, just battling it out on the side. Still, we've got what looks to be the start of a 5v5 perhaps happening, as Rayfaki's going to lose his flash. He's also going to go down. A very unnecessary death out of the on, considering everyone who had managed to get out. He goes a little bit too far forward, gets slowed up, and gets taken on out.
He also just charges straight into that blue buff wall. Unfortunate. But, I mean, look, not the end of the world. I think it's not going to be the biggest detriment, especially that it does go into Evie. Very rarely are you going to see a Rumble that just completely overtakes a game. Usually he's just a contributor in that situation. But, yeah, for the most part, it was a very scrappy positioning from DFM. I mean, Harp realistically was always going to get out. The Call of the Forge God probably didn't need to be thrown down, but it was anyway. Yeah, I don't know why they committed so heavily onto a third Void Grub. The Equalizer gets dropped from there. They could just back out, realistically. They didn't need to stick around. They're definitely a bit of greed, I think.
Yeah, and oftentimes that's what we do locate. And yeah, that was unfortunate, to say the least.
But Aria's just got a kill in the picture-in-picture in the top lane.
Oh, okay. We're back. Oh, we'll get a replay of that as well, I'm sure. Yeah, here we go. Oh, Evie just doing much the same as Rayfaki, really, getting way too big for his boots. And I mean, perfect for DFM. The gold exactly where they want it to be.
Yeah, so ultimately, it's a net equal trade across the board. I mean, I think
somewhat. You'd rather the Azir with gold in the Rumble.
Yeah, exactly. But I think other than where the gold ended up, I think definitely that is going to do a lot to help DFM going into this mid to late game. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is available now. Unfortunately, limited to no ultimates there to back it up. The Call of the Forge God is coming off cooldown very, very soon. And with Harp hitting 6 as well, Glacial Fissure being stacked on top of all the CC lockdown that they have in their kit means that there is, again, a real risk that mispositioning costs SHG dearly.
Yeah, for sure. And this will be the Dragon going down in favor of SoftBank. So the first of the Monster Slayer will be picked up by them. There's no real leaps towards any of these feats just yet.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing being DFM was denied all 3 Void Grubs, so they won't have at least their first point in it. There isn't huge threat onto any of the towers so far. It's just been a bit of damage here and there. It's odd that we're seeing both bot laners being left alone in mid. It's not something you often see at this stage in the game, but I think it goes to show that both teams really respect the situation that they're in the overall leaderboard, and how much they would then miss out from a big misplay.
Absolutely. So, I mean, again, everything stays pretty even. There's a nice CS advantage for Fate, but it's equalized by the fact Arya did pick up that kill on Evie. Still no flash here for the Rumble, so if any fight does break out around the Void Grubs, it could be him getting focused down by the Ornhorn and collapsed upon. Certainly is the CC lockdown here with knockups that can come through from the Wukong. There's knockbacks from Arya, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and both level 6s as well now, having their ults available to themselves.
Oh, from downtown, Evie!
Oh my lord!
Clean shave. Rumble no longer needs to visit the barber, right?
That was very, very close. But goodbye, Evie. I mean, myself in that situation probably accidentally walks into it.
Yeah,
Evie a little bit more accomplished than I am.
I think walking into it's fine. It's the flash into it that's really that's the hard pill to swallow in that situation. That's when you're like, maybe this isn't for me.
Luckily for him, no flash, so he couldn't.
Yeah. Oh dear. Look, sometimes the game gives you an opportunity, and sometimes you only get out of it because you were just completely unaware it was happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Void Grubs, all 3 looking to be picked up here by SoftBank. I think ultimately just doing a better job of pushing out the waves and getting their recall timers at the correct time to be able to do this. And so they're going to be rewarded for it. That's the second Monster Slayer now online for them. It's 2 Void Grubs to 4. DFM rather choosing to try and invade the bottom side of, Courage's jungle. Unfortunately, will not find anything for them to pick up. And Courage has found himself a nice little advantage in terms of XP as well as the CS coming through from the junglers.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow down, it was going to be a rough fight. Plus, Karkin just didn't really have the HP. He doesn't have anything in terms of items. Israel with that Phage and Sheen in the pocket is probably going to be dishing out a little bit more damage from range. And it's not the end of the world. That is not the feat given over just yet. You've still got room where you could potentially snipe that one away. So I think, yeah, the next big objective likely going to be that Ocean Drake. That fight there could set us up for at least the feat of warfare.
Yeah, definitely good. Both teams needing 2, of course, and man, a lot of the power now with the Nash's Tooth on Aria. Certainly can dish out a bit of damage and have legitimate kill threat over anyone that does get locked down, which is very important, as they were kind of lacking that. BF Sword as well as the Yuntal of Fate. Oh,
he's got an inkling. He's got a tingle in the back of his brain that there's something not quite right here. Do they bait it?
They are.
I think they're gonna.
They're gonna get him. They're gonna at least get the flash here. In goes everyone. He does get the flash out, but he does get locked up. One more auto, and there it is. Fate. He was aware something's happening. Oh no, and this is going to turn from bad to worse as Evie does come in. The Winter's Bite almost proccing. Unfortunately, not the greatest ult of all time coming out for the Glacial Fissure. The equalizer's great. Down will go Harp. As Aria trying to dish out the damage, but not able to do so. And the massive disconnect that is Karkun, unfortunately, will be the undoing here as the feat of warfare does go to SoftBank.
Oh, it looked like everything was going to land, but there's just no damage to back it up. It looked beautiful for a moment for DFM. Just not having those high output champions. Unfortunately, yeah, Aria has limited capacity, and I think maybe if he'd saved the Emperor's Divide going for that kill on Fate, that would have been a drastically different story. All of a sudden, the engage is just no longer there. But you look at it, they go in on Fate. They're so desperate for this kill. They commit so much for it. They will get it ultimately, but yeah, the fact that they held the Glacial Fissure might have made that a bit better than it ultimately could have been. The Call of the Forge God.
He does mess it though.
Yeah, he hits one, but the Call of the Forge God's on point. But the True Shot Barrage does so much. The Equalizer does so much. And Aria, yeah, just gets jumped on.
Into it. But also, yeah, Karkun not there, so what could have been a 4v5 was ultimately a 4v4, and you'd use your ultimate. So SoftBank did just have the superior combat power, and utilizing it there to secure themselves the win in that team fight. They're now going to explode the gold lead up to 2K from what was an even footing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how Karkun goes in this game. We've seen this build a couple of times now, and it's felt rather underwhelming, but that has been more into just pure tanks in the top lane, where you don't have that necessarily on SHG. The closest you get is obviously Gang on the Leona.
Oh lord. Soul Flare comes out, does connect there onto Harp. Definitely not the champion they were looking for was the Brahmin, so we'll just decide to walk away. One of the superpowers, one of the many superpowers you get out of the Leona is the ability to engage but not fully commit to set engage, and we'll be utilizing it there. Finding now Evie, who doesn't have flash after the last fight. It's a good equalizer, but Aria, actually Guwon eventually taking it with that reactivation of the Cyclone, but still another good pick. Aria does lose the majority of his health, but will pick up some more gold and start making his way to what appears to be some Merc Trids.
Yeah. I mean, look, money is money at the end of the day for DFM. It is going to keep them relevant in this game, so kills there, especially slowing down Evie, who has already got the Leandri's work. And the teleport, though, coming down.
Yeah, Weaver's Wall is going to be available. No, it's not actually. Fate not having access to it means he teleports down and is just going to be able to come and claim some of these minions. Rayfarki level 10. So still quite a wee way before the ornaments are going to be coming online.
Yeah, with the Ocean Drake already been taken, they're not going to really net anything out of that teleport. So I suppose make the most of it. Fate just pushes that wave and try and get some threat onto the tower. But you can already see prioritization in towards the MR. The majority of the damage coming out of SoftBank is magic damage, which does mean that going into the later stages of the game, they could find themselves really struggling.
Yeah, for sure. I think ultimately damage profile lacking in terms of that physical damage a little bit. Marble, yes, he will offer some. It's a little bit less consistent than a lot of the AD carries we typically do see. And so they're looking, however, I mean, the early stage of the game is good for them, and Aria will clear out that wave and be able to join the rest of his team as DFM now approaching in. Nice Enchanted Crystal Arrow does connect onto Gang. Let's see what can be found off the back of this. Winter's Bite, one more auto attack required to get Courage stunned up. There it will be. The Call of the Forge God. Courage does manage to pick up that Rift Herald, but the Eye of the Herald does still sit there, and unfortunately Courage will be going down. Aria comes in. The Emperor's Divide's fantastic, and they're not going to follow on forward, even though the one auto attack could have just spelt despise for Gang, as he does get clipped by another one of those Braum Q. defuse. Guwon coming back, gets a lot of help back, and the Cyclone's great. It's going to be an ace. How many do Marble? Oh, Marble's not going to get anyone, actually. It's a 5 for 0. I mean, DFM, yes, they lose the Herald. They don't give over the eye. They get the ace, and DFM taking a massive lead now off the back of a fumble.
I think that might be the earliest ace we've had so far in the LCP. But yeah, no, this is what I was talking about. The threat out of this, either 5v5 team fight from DFM is just that much scarier than out of SoftBank at the moment, and a heavy overcommit here. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow does land onto Gang, but you look at the setup here. The Weaver's Wall, I think, really was what meant that there was a chance that SHG brought this one back.
Nice.
Unfortunately, Ray in the backside with the Call of the Forge God. Look, this could have been over a lot quicker if Karkun had been enabled into that fight, but unfortunately Aria is so accelerated at this stage, landing just one good Emperor's Divide just makes it very, very hard. And Guwon just brilliant over the wall there, boom, straight onto 3. Does get the first, sets up the reactivation onto Marvel, who just hasn't had the ability to get out with no mana. So yeah, everything that DFM needed for that to go right went right.
A bit of mixed languages going on there. I hear some Korean and some Japanese going on. Makes sense considering, you know, half the roster is Japanese and half the roster is Korean. But still, looking good, at least in that fight. They were behind, now very decently far ahead, particularly Guwon and Aria.
Only problem being is, yeah, unfortunately, the Noxian Blessing does go over to SHG.
Yeah, that thing doesn't matter, though.
It's not the be-all and end-all. I think it does just enable things a little bit more. I was going to say probably for Evie if he does go Sork Boots, because he's going to desperately need that magic pen in this situation with all the MR that is already being built up. But you can see Fate has already opted into the cooldown reduction, so is Marble. It's going to help him a little.
Yeah, it's kind of fake. I think what you get for 850 gold, you'd rather
placebo.
It is very much a placebo, I think. Generally, you just get more out of putting that 850 gold towards an actual item. You know, the Void Staff is going to be critical for both Evie and Fate.
I'm not even sure if Guwon knew that he just jumped out of that Zenith Blade, so very near. Oh, this could be dangerous. If this flank is on point, which unfortunately the True Shot Barrage just goes well wide. Karkun and Harp. Look, the collapse is there.
Yeah, SoftBank looking for something, trying to get Aria away from the side lane, but Aria will claim himself in a tower. So now, you know, a nice gold injection once again onto Aria, who does find himself 1.5k gold up. He's going to be able to recall and get his Liandry's online now, and so this is truly going to be hitting very hard.
Yeah, not the full one-shot build, but I don't think it needed to be in this game. I think there is a lot of damage output with the layered CC that DFM have to offer. I mean, a good Cyclone, a good Call of the Forge God, a good Glacial Fissure and Emperor's Divide. So there is multiple members of this SHG roster being CC'd for, if you could conceivably chain it up to about 8 seconds if you get it all in the line, but you're not going to. So it's more of a sort of a 5 to 6 second overlap there, which is, I mean, just insane in League of Legends.
Definitely is. Those are Dota timers.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Oh, True Shot Barrage is hidden. Only the one item still 2 for Marble, so good signs for him, but this Dragon will be given over to DFM. Definitely much stronger in the current state of the map, and so will feel good to be able to stop the stacking of these Dragons. Won't be that Dragon sold just yet for SoftBank.
I mean, Hextech, Soul coming through. I definitely think there's a lot that could be used off the back of that for DFM. And poor Fate, he was setting a trap. Unfortunately, he's been scouted. He's going to have to back himself off for a bit.
The unfortunate situation of Ash, where you can just get vision anywhere on the map you'd like, on a relatively low cooldown.
I think that might be the same bug we encountered yesterday, because Courage still has the eyes on. But obviously it's a player-side bug, so it's not an issue. It just means he's got angry eyebrows floating above his head.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me in League as well, so I think Courage realizing that. At this stage, it was probably also communicated to the players after yesterday, I would imagine.
Yeah. I mean, nothing really crazy going to happen in the near future, I don't believe. Just going to be a lot of posturing. We're still at least 3 minutes out from the next objective, which is going to be a Baron.
There's Arakan, but...
That's usually, yeah, it's going to be a team fight into an Arakan, likely then into another fight into a Baron, if it does go that way. Or realistically, there is a chance they just keep shoving in waves, they keep farming until we see that next Drake come up. And that's where things start to go on, though. It could be collapsed on, but I just wonder if the SHG are feeling confident enough that they can make that happen.
At least going to be able to get Guon away from that ward. Enchanted Crystal Arrow does connect there onto Gang. It's a very nice glacial fissure. Guon finds his way in onto Courage. The Weaver's Wall is also very good as Ray Faki still having access to that Call of the Forge God. It's a choke in some ways that SoftBank have now driven themselves into, as constant damage from afar being output through these volleys. You're seeing reasonable chunks coming out as Half as well going to take a sizable chunk of his health in damage. Heavy battling with Arya on the Azir. Soulflare's great! Soulflare's more than great, and Arya makes a rare mistake here as Gang might just go down for it, but no, limping away. But Arya, so much of your damage getting taken out like that is very detrimental. What can SoftBank get off the back of this, though?
I mean, it was greedy. Honestly, I think there would have been more achieved if Arya just committed, gone for the Emperor's Divide onto 3. But yeah, look, you're standing far too close. You've been caught out. He was just a second away from getting out of that situation. Yeah. But unfortunately, yeah, he just gets clipped by the Soulflare. He had the flash as well. So, I don't know. Look, it's not the be-all and end-all. There's nothing really to make a playoff other than the Arakan, and you just don't have the strength to be able to take it quickly enough that you won't get punished by DFM. So, yeah, gold into the pocket of SHG, and
oh, Evie does flash away, but he should be going down. There is a collapse coming.
No, there's not.
There is. Oh, yeah, no, there isn't. Just going to leave Guwon to try and solo him. He's no longer going to be able to be overheated. Guwon does have another usage of the Cyclone, but Evie's just going to scrap him. The shield, the turnaround, the shutdown. Evie able to give himself a kill. There's also Ray Faki dying on the mid-wave. Things going terribly. Arya, nice Emperor's Divide, but the seismic shove is there. He does go golden flash. Might get himself out. No, not even able to get it off as he is just completely annihilated. Teleport also coming in from Evie, who did just claim himself a kill as Karkun taking a sizable chunk of damage, and the flash away does allow him to dodge, but eventually burned by the equalizer. And I mean, just mistake after mistake for DFM now leads SoftBank to getting well and truly back in this game, and in fact take a sizable lead for themselves.
A misplay by Arya, and an uncharacteristically poor misplay gets him caught. Then it just feels like DFM completely turned their brain off. Like, go on, what in the world made him think that he could conceive?
Huh? Ray Faki's just watching bot.
Like, what made Guon, one, think he could 1v1 the 6-in-1 Rumble in that situation?
Marble threading.
And then two, why in the world is Ray watching down the bot lane? Like, they just stopped thinking that.
Yeah, I mean, Harp actually predicting the flash of courage. Kind of cool to see. But this was, I mean, this was very, very bad.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just systematically, every single member of DFM turned their brain off there. Like, why is Karkun even conceivably fighting that? He hadn't, I don't even think he'd finished the second item. And yeah, go on. If the support had come, yeah, easy kill. They're on to Evie. But they just turn because Ray gets caught out in the mid lane, and Guon says, yeah, no, don't worry, I've got this. The 6-in-1 Rumble should be easy, even though Rumble has a Riftmaker and a Leandries.
Was very close. Unfortunately, close doesn't count for much, as you do now give over a massive shutdown. It's the third dragon, it's the Arakan. DFM now backs against the wall. Here in game number 1, SoftBank very far ahead, despite what I would argue they shouldn't be. Obviously, gold still remains somewhat even. Unfortunately, it is the power through those dragons that's going to be very detrimental. Hard blocking up a sizable amount of damage here coming out of Fade as Guon will slam his head with that pole. It's a cleanse out of Karkun after the solar flare does land directly on top of him, but does get himself out, and no one going down, at least for the time being. But Fade fighting a lot of damage, and another two-man seismic shove spells absolute disaster for the side of DFM. The Emperor's Divide is very good, however, they're going to be able to get some of the withdrawals. 1, 2, 3, only Marble remains now. And so DFM are going to have Aria come and save the day for them once more. Still, tempo advantage massively in favor of the SoftBank lineup as you see them all respawning now. Aria has teleport, so can get back on the map, but you see the entire side of SoftBank heading out to this Baron.
Again, I think DFM hedging their bets there. I think, honestly, if Aria had just full committed in with the Shurima shuffle, that fight likely goes largely the same way. They finish off Marble as well, and they're sitting in a better spot. But I suppose, look, you don't want to hedge your bets in the situation, especially with that Artican buff. Now, though, they're not going to have key ultimates. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow and Glacial Fissure were held, and I suppose the Enchanted Crystal Arrow came off cooldown, so they're going to have that up and available, and that is enough to force SoftBank off.
Yeah, they do stop the Baron, and ultimately, because, you know, you still do get 200 gold for the kills, the withdrawals, I guess, rather, when it does occur, they do get a reasonable amount of gold back. It's Aria, ultimately, with the majority of this combat power. Rayfaki still not level 14, so still cannot upgrade any of Aria's items, which is a concern.
Yeah. The gang just completely gets caught. They drop everything onto him, but obviously at that point, there's just no damage being taken. It was a 5v4 there. And, I mean, Evie was a wee way away. They have the tower. Yeah, I think SHG realized, actually, well, we've got this Artican. We can probably just step back in and go for the fight.
Picture in picture, Rayfaki, it's not Rayfaki, rather, Evie getting caught out there. His heart dodging out or blocking out so much of this damage. Stuck behind the Weaver's wall. Out will come this Ornhorn. It's good. It lands onto 2. It lands on a Fade, and it also lands onto Courage to flash away, but Rayfaki will almost certainly be able to get the kill. No, he won't, but eventually Guon will. It's Kakun who gets one himself. Marble will be going down eventually as Aria comes flying on in. Only Fate remains. There's low health bars. They do have to be careful, but with a 3v1 on the cards, both teams do choose to walk the opposite way. DFM will win the fight, and this game is just so back and forward.
You ready? And back, and then up again. It's back in the blue. Let's go. But right now, yeah, look, I think, again, DFM's team fight is just that little bit scarier than the outright 5v5. There's just so much lockdown. SHG, you're going to have to rely on, you know, sort of everyone stumbles in, you land the ultimates, and then, unfortunately, DFM really struggle. They just keep fighting. And oh, it's going to be off the back of a massive Aria setup here, I think. No, Enchanted Crystal Arrow into Evie. He jumps in. Great Shurima shuffle, yeah. So he did follow it up.
Blues flash.
Even still, I think that is exactly what you're looking for DFM in this situation. They look to counter, but they've already taken out so much of the team fight damage from Evie. And then from there, they can just sort of just chunk on through. Yeah, look, Fate gets out a lot of damage. Karkin only does so much in this situation. Has to back right off and gets eaten by a true shot barrage. But again, I think ultimately your gold going into the hands of Aria is going to do more good at this stage in the game.
Yeah, Shutdown did go over to Rayfaki, which maybe not ideal. It's going to lead him to get a little bit tankier a little bit sooner. Upgraded items still yet to be selected by him. Your two options really are between this Azir or the Ashe. We'll probably see him choose it now.
I wouldn't do it right here. Your jungler's just backed off.
Okay, so it's Aria getting upgraded. We'll see which one he chooses. Could be the Nashes or the Liandry's. I imagine it's Liandry's. Oh, that's Nashes. Okay, so goes for the Nashes upgrade. Ability power and I believe attack speed.
Yeah, I think it's more important at this stage because the burn is good and all, but he's just doing more for the team with those soldiers. Just being able to pump out those attacks faster and faster is going to do a little bit more, especially in mopping up we've already seen.
Yeah, true. I wouldn't have hated to see a little bit more health on the Azir. You know,
he's got the Zhonya's, so it's not the end of the world.
Kang being looked at once again. Enchanted Crystal Arrow will connect here onto him. Still, the Weaver's Wall comes out. Aria going to be taken away from his team, but this could be a massive angle. Fate getting chunked very, very low. Look at the damage that these soldiers are doing. Guon locking up 4, and so will Rayfaki. Fate is going to be able to go golden. So much that team fight damage is on Aria, but he takes out the Talia. Gang does get taken in as well. Karkun going to meet the same fate. 3v3 now, but Aria's still up, and Marble for the other side. Still team fight damage available for both of these two teams, but it's going to be ultimately an even standing 2 for 2. Mid lane for the support and mid lane for the AD carry in terms of those carries being taken out.
Oh, but they do get a tower off the back of it though, so I think net positive for DFM. The problem being, oh dear.
Oh yeah, nice Ray Parker. He's going to be able to get out. Does lose the teleport, and this is Dragon's Soul, so no Rumble, but Fate not there yet. Aria coming, they will have to delay. Obviously, Fate does have teleport as soon as he's up. Guwon's still not on the map. This is a Hextech Soul. It's the second best win rate Soul in the game, and it's definitely going over. So now DFM take an even fight. They overstay on the map. SoftBank with the quicker recalls, the quicker reutilization of their tempo essentially just nets them a complete free Hextech Soul.
Yeah, I mean, that fight, though, Ari was more concerned about denying Fate's involvement in it, whereas if he just committed him with the rest of the team, they would have blown up the remaining members in that, because they were so low that it likely would have just meant that they could turn on Fate anyway and finish him off. So, look, a bit of a problem in terms of target selection, but they're still in a great spot. Go on, coming in from the back could be a problem.
He's navigated the vision. He's in the back line. There's a lot of damage. Evie, is he going to be able to get golden? Yes, he will. And it's going to be Guwon. He's being chased down. Marble trying to find the damage. The Cyclone's there, but Evie goes down first. Guwon still being targeted out. One more activation of the Cyclone is going to be good enough to at least buy some time. But now Ray Farkey being the focus. The Ornhorn. How good is it? It's good enough to land at least onto Marble. No damage to come through on the back end, though. However, is Aria going to have to run away? Still, Marble full HP. It's a 4v3. Jungler's still up. Courage will be able to use the smite on the Baron. And DFM against the Hextech Soul have to try and navigate some way with their only front line being Harp to deny this. Gang, you see him trying to get something. The Zenith Blade goes wide. Still poke available for this Ezreal. Karkun too scared to walk up. And Chana Crystal Arrow, however, is there for him. They just need to look to go in.
It's still got about a third cooldown left, actually.
Oh, the flash forward from Courage. They do find their way onto Karkun, and Aria just backing off. These soldiers now are being unleashed. He goes forward, but he gets stunned up. He does have the Empress Divide, but Gang will Zenith Blade through it, lock down the Azir. Everything coming up SoftBank.
DFM find themselves in position where they hold the lead, only for them to turn around and make a just colossal misplay that ultimately cost them significantly in the following moments. They've conceded a Soul, they then conceded Baron. I mean, yeah, look, I can understand what Guwon was trying to do. This is no, okay, so this was this is still a while ago in the grand scheme of things, yeah.
Yeah, this was
like the fight before the last fight. This is way back, because the last one, Karkun was zoned out by the, yeah. So that was the Aria just too focused on Fate there. If he'd gone into the bulk of SHG, he would have wiped out likely Marble, Courage, and Evie off the back of it. Yeah, Fate would have still been there, but he has a lot less overall threat. And then here, yeah. Look, I don't understand what the call is being made here. Yes, you've got Guwon on the back line. And meanwhile, picture-in-picture, things are going even worse.
Fight is breaking out. Harp with a really good Glacial Fissure is going to deny any more forward progress from SoftBank, but unfortunately, the burn down available. Karkun is taken out for free. Tower taken out as well. It's a 4v5 now with base defense on the cards. DFM, it's been a back and forth battle, but they have one last stand to try and stop the forward progress being made here by SoftBank. Aria does have flash. There could be some miracle play coming out of him.
I mean, they've got the CC to back it up as well, called the Forge.
Yeah, it's going to be able to lock up Gang, and that is one very deadly owner. Guwon on the side trying to find a way in, but Courage marking him very well. Aria still dipping and diving. He's going to go in, but Marble with the flash. Aria's going to have to flash back to his tower. He does go golden to try and deny as much of this damage from the Rumble as possible, but not going to be able to do enough as Guwon commits to take out Marble, but all for naught as they will lose their last Nexus tower. Karkun certainly not with the damage as Evie flashes straight on top of him, and it will be SoftBank who, after a hard-fought battle, take game number one.
Yeah, look, there's just a lot that should have gone better than it did for DFM. They really were at multiple points in that game in the driver's seat, but unfortunately, SoftBank just presented opportunity after opportunity, and yeah, look, DFM. That was just a bit poor, I think, honestly.
I honestly think both teams played pretty poorly, because ultimately SoftBank were very, very far ahead. Eventually give over very far ahead, who then also in return give all that gold back.
I think the difference being that DFM made the more egregious mistakes across the rift, and you can see it. When they fell off hard at the end there. Look, I think the comp was just so good for DFM in a team fight, but target prioritization, just mispositioning. Kakun, unfortunately, just felt completely irrelevant that game because, look, I have to say, it definitely feels like they got baited into the Ash a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very difficult game to be Ash. The damage majoritively needed to rely on Aria's shoulders, and unfortunately just a couple too many times he made mistakes in the mid stage of the game where he was very accelerated, eventually gives over a lot of the tempo, and when you are very far ahead, you cannot be the one to make the mistakes, and unfortunately, honestly, for maybe the first time here in the LCP, Aria was the one making a lot of the mistakes. So
to be fair, I think he still also had some really, really good moments,
for sure.
But I think it was especially that last fight towards the end, that fight, he jived onto Fate and just missed the Emperor's Divide because of the Zhonyas. I think it was target prioritization that would really let the DFM down there.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's mistakes like those you can't afford if you do want to claim yourself that final playoff spot, because keep in mind, you just win the series you're in. Now, SoftBank do lead the series. That was DFM's map pick as well, side selection pick rather. So going into game number 2, they will once again have side selection. Will they take the blue side or the red side? I mean, it's yet to be seen, but yeah, a rough first look out of DFM. I mean, a rough first look out of both of them, ultimately, as I said before. There were moments of brilliance, there were moments of
desperation.
Almost,
it definitely felt like more than... it wasn't like they just hard through, it just felt like they were desperate to make a play to try and accelerate that lead. And fun fact, as we watch this lovely highlight reel, SHG, their more successful side was red side. They've continued winning on the red side. It's just a bizarre time to be alive. But yeah, look, I mean, on the whole, DFM overcommitted that much more than SHG, and SoftBank were able to ultimately capitalize it. Now, they did have a couple of very, very brilliant team fights where everything sort of came together, but...
this one in particular.
Yeah, like just everything lined up. Ray on the backside, they just get everything there. Kakun, his one redeeming moment in that team fight is he just managed to flash out of Fate, just absolutely blowing him up. And yeah, look, I rate the Ash, I do, but into this team comp, there was just so much to punish, and it just felt like it didn't quite hit its mark here.
But sure, unfortunately, I mean, there were moments as well. I mean, it's hard to put everything on the Ash, like Guwon solo dying to Evie down the bot side.
Yeah,
which was
no,
a shutdown.
this was just a complete...
Somehow, as I say it is going to be the replay. Yeah, he did have Kakun as well as Harp coming down to support him, and if either of those players did commit to it, then this might be a different story.
Well,
because
I'd have to go back and watch the VOD, but I'm pretty sure what happens is Guwon starts the fight, Ray, remember, dies because he just goes AFK watching this fight. So he then, so Kakun and Harp immediately pivot back up, leaving Guwon to just die on his own, unfortunately. And yeah, again, these very, very scrappy team fights in towards mid, they just get caught out by too much. And while yes, the turnaround is very, very good from DFM, it means that those big impact carries aren't in a fight long enough to deal out the damage. So yeah, look, it could have been a lot cleaner, but it also could have been a lot worse. For
sure. I mean, even in this fight, just Marble being able to mop up the remainder of Kakun's health with that True Shot Barrage, giving him a bunch of gold, and was pretty on point for the most part. This was, you know, look at the angle. If Ari's able to find it here, obviously right now can't use the dash.
This is the one that I was talking about.
Now he could. Yeah, I mean, he could have found a way in. Instead goes, you know, the wrong side, you'd have to say. And it does just end up in a 3v3.
But
I mean, even after this...
It also pulls Harp over. If Harp was there in the middle of it, they then collapse.
I mean, I think, honestly, it doesn't matter if they just recall at the same time as SoftBank. Because this is a 2 for 2, that's completely fine. You recall, you get back on the map at the same time, and you can viably stop them from just taking the Hextech Soul that they got off the back of that fight. So I think just macro mistakes, micro mistakes, unfortunately, do come to show their ugly head here in the later stages of that game, and it does lead, unfortunately, for DFM fans to SoftBank taking game number 1. But of course, you know, LJL fans, they're eating good regardless, because one of their teams is going to be making it here to our playoffs and then, you know, securing themselves that 6th spot. Game number 1 does go in favor of SoftBank. Now, second game, side selection once again for DFM. We'll see if they can bring it back.
Welcome to Noxus 1v1, where we have your favorite LEC players go up against each other, where first skill, first turret, or first 100 CS wins. Today, we have M. Koisupa and G2 Hansama going up against each other, playing only 1 out of 18 Noxus champs, which they get to choose by spinning the wheel. So let's find out who wins.
So let's see what we get. I hope we get a funny champion, not Rel, not Vladimir or something like that. Oh! We got Ambessa.
Ambessa?
I think it's
okay.
fine. I think it's fine. It's almost Vladimir. Was so close. What?
Wait, I missed this.
I lose my cue as well.
What? Oh yeah, actually if you miss here, you miss here.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Oh shit. I forgot. Oh my god, I missed it.
Okay.
Oh guys.
I don't know what I'm doing, no joke. But this champion looks so fun.
No!
But what is this damage?
Actually, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
this champion is weird.
I played into Ambessa in lane swap, and sometimes he can
Yeah.
1v2, it's crazy.
Yes, you can.
Noxus is where the strong gather. It seeks the fearless and defiant.
These fists ain't just for show. Come on! Who's next? This is the coil before the strike. Let's settle the score. You'll want to get a close-up of this. Like the ivory serpent, I don't back down when it comes to family. You pick a fight with them, you pick a fight with me. Hometown hero coming through. Mom's fought for me since I was born. It's my turn now.
Welcome to war. Do not test me. You want to me now? I yield to nobody. What's this? Such senseless chaos, Jinx. I hardly felt a thing. Nothing I couldn't handle.
Oh, it is so on!
It's about to get messy. Let's dance. Blood for Noxus. The wrath of the Madonna.
Between you and me, like a movie, like a dream, a dose of dopamine, more than ecstasy. Between you and me, take me there like nobody else. It's so unfair, I get you all to myself. I like it like that, yeah, yeah, yeah. I like it like that, yeah, yeah, yeah. Got you singing like a choir boy. I'll take you back to church. Won't stop until you say so. I like the roles reversed. It's the way you say your name, the way you touch your face. It's like our bodies move so easily. Like a movie, like a dream, a dose of dopamine, more than ecstasy. Between you and me, like a movie, like a dream, a dose of dopamine, more than ecstasy. Between you and me, take me there like nobody else.
Getting ready now. Champions Select getting prepared for game number 2. It's SoftBank who lead the series 1-0 and look to stamp themselves a ticket into those playoffs, but I'm sure DFM are not going to go quietly into the night.
You'd have to hope so. Again, we did see some signs of what we have come to expect out of DFM, but there was a lot that definitely felt left to be desired in that matchup. Ray Faki, AFK in mid lane, looking at his jungle die to his opponent for one, stands out. So you would have hoped that they would have been a little bit more switched on, but as we come into game 2, hopefully they've been given a raka by the coach, and now coming into this, they're going to be a little bit more locked in. Skarner, Rakan, and Poppy banned out by DFM, Cassante, Aurora, and Vi. The responses from SHG. Unfortunately, Bastian, we may not see Cassante this series. I think he's getting hard bound out, even if we do go to a game 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I think ultimately the champion does stand out as that massive power pickup on the top side. Pretty hard to deal with and just gets a lot done with even very little resources a lot of the time. Varus and Misfortune going to be amicably traded between these two AD carries. Marble in particular is going to feel extremely comfortable on this pick.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's an interesting situation that DFM do find themselves in, and it blows my mind that I am even saying this, but I think given their current situation, Karkun being more comfortable as a mid laner, being forced now down into the bot lane, play something like the Yasuo mid, Ziggs down in the bot lane. It gives him something he's a little bit more familiar with. Ari has already had a standout performance on the Yasuo. Synergistically it works, and it means that he has a little bit more ability, has more to contribute to the team, and it doesn't really punish you too much by having an AD mid laner and an mage bot laner. Yeah,
absolutely. The Jace into the Ambessa is the current hopper. I mean, this isn't a matchup we have seen, so we're going to get to see how the Jace does into the Ambessa. It hasn't been looking that great just yet. Honestly, there's been kind of one good Jace performance since the nerf. Even that, wasn't all that much to write home about. And the Pantheon locked in here for Guon, who has had some very good Pantheon games.
Yeah, you definitely need something that is going to be a bit of a playmaker, have that global presence. I think that's probably sort of going to be your best avenue back into this series. Something that can just impact the map from distance. Not necessarily a Galio, but sort of AD equivalent, I suppose. But Sejuani comes as a counter. The team fight already is looking very, very scary for SoftBank at the moment, paired with the Misfortune in general. Given what is available for the mid lane as well, Fade is also going to have something that likely will synergize with that. I wouldn't even hate an Akali here, just because it would be able to mop up so much of that damage that's coming out of the 3 that we're already seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. Renata now going to be banned away. A very strong pairing with the Varus down that bottom lane, not willing to give it up, and it makes a lot of sense. First ban of Victor. Yeah, we don't see a mid laner unless this Jace does shift into the mid lane yet for DFM. Noticeably, Mal lacking from this draft is something that either side could reasonably go towards. Maybe preferring to have a melee mid laner, honestly, on the side of SoftBank to pair alongside the Sejuani. Yone has been looked at quite often. It would leave you lacking in terms of that magic profile, however.
Orianna banned out, yeah, I mean, Pantheon, ball delivery system, pretty self-explanatory there. You've got the opening for something along the lines of an Alistar support that is also going to, you know, enable that as well. In terms, oh, Alistar, yeah, just going to be banned out, in fact, for the Misfortune. It's not going to be available for Gang.
I mean, oh, okay, so I was expecting a Rel, being that it sets up the Misfortune so well, but instead they're going to go for a very aggressive bot lane here, and the Misfortune appeared alongside the Elise, so how are DFM going to look to manage this? You know, Nico has been something we've seen as an answer. Hasn't done particularly well necessarily, but has absolutely been picked into the Elise. Shen for the support position.
Shot. Oh, well, I suppose.
Unless Jace is going mid and Shen's going top, but I mean, we'll find out exactly now. Yeah, no, it's Shen support. I mean, it's a support that's usually picked into Leona because it directly counters Leona. She goes in, you put down your Shroud, and you cannot be stunned. But into the Elise, little curious.
Oh boy, yeah, Fate's yeah, and it was up, but also that was the other champion that I was thinking. Silas is available, and my God, you talk about high impact ultimates. There would be some to steal. Yeah, I think Silas is just ultimately the better pick. Chains of Corruption, you got Grand Skyfall, Shen stand together, and yeah, no, mobility out of the Ahri, which is sadly lacking in Silas a little bit there. So suddenly, this is just a brilliant Silas game. Look, I don't know. You're in a situation, you're down a game if you're DFM. I can understand a want to potentially gamble, but the one big factor is that there is an insane amount of globability, so I suppose, to this DFM roster with Shen Pantheon. Suddenly, what could have been a 1v1 is now a 3v1.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the mobility around the map certainly there for DFM. However, they're going to have to navigate what is an incredibly solid skirmish. I mean, you've got the double melees in the Empress paired with the Silas in the mid lane around the Sejuani, so stacking up that permafrost becomes a lot easier and a lot more scary to battle against. And then the Elise Misfortune bot lane, very self-sufficient as well as very aggressive. It's going to be hard to weather the storm, I think, ultimately for DFM, but if they are able to do it and start playing around those globals, all of a sudden can find themselves in, you know, a pretty decent position. Key things this game, I think the Dragons seem to be the standout objective, while a lot of pressure put around the Grubs hasn't struck me as necessarily the stronger of the two objectives currently, especially post the Grubs nerf.
Yeah, look, I think in the grand scheme of these two team fight comps, I think SHG just has the better skirmish. DFM is going to definitely get him. It's a pick comp. There is no two ways about it. They are looking for the overmatch and playing from there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, interesting to see how the Shen does. Again, typically picked into Leona, if ever, in that support position. This time we're going to see it against an Elise, as well as the Misfortune. I mean, you can block double up damage. You can, you know, do a lot to dissuade Misfortune from walking up and auto-attacking. But how effective ultimately will that be? Obviously, we are going to find out, but still, I mean, I'm just very curious, really. It's not something we typically see. Fate, down here with his bot lane, making sure no early game funny business happens, and there won't be.
No shenanigans. Heavy, no. Buddy, no. He's been hit by the spear. That's it, game over. DFM draw first blood. Not first kill blood, but first blood.
Yeah. So lanes going to be mirrored or matched. Ultimately, no lane swap thus far in our first series of the night. Keep in mind, SoftBank do lead 1-0, and DFM are trying to fight to bring it back. Gang in that bush. You know, very strong level 1, being Elise, being, you know, max health percentage damaged. It's a good, very good Shen taunt. And Gang going to take a sizable chunk of damage. Is going to be forced to use an early potion here. You know, setting themselves up well, our DFM so far, at least. They're going to get pushed in, but not all that surprising considering the range versus melee support matchup.
Yeah, I mean, the flash and dash combo as well means that there could be a turnaround at a moment's notice from Harp, especially if he connects on both of them, especially after that, you know, around that level 3 mark where he's going to have the ability to just provide that zone of dissuasion.
Yeah, trades on the top side, going reasonably even for the time being. Mid lane not the same though as we do typically see. in the Ari versus the Silas matchup. Ari never really having true kill threat, barring mistakes out of the Silas, and ultimately, generally comes around that level 6 mark where these two champions start heavily trading against each other, and things become very narrow and health bars get very low, but at least for now it's Fate that is suffering.
And an electrocute on the Ambassador as well, so a little bit more damage threat as Ray. He gets out some good damage.
Certainly does.
I'm just curious how it scales into the late game, honestly. I think Ambassador's just going to offer more on the whole.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, against the immobile Varus, how often have we seen Varus just get completely punished when he doesn't have flash?
The Varus punch down has been a pretty pretty common theme here in the LCP. So yeah, unfortunately, it's not boding amazingly well. Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, go on getting spotted out. Maybe looking for something aggressive here, but will be no real opportunity, as it's going to be the bottom scuttle crab collected now for Courage, and unfortunately for Guon, he's going to have to make his way up to the top side to collect that one for himself.
Well, yeah, look, I'm not expecting anything too explosive here at this stage. I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of brawling in the top side, but it takes a lot for there to be genuine kill threat there. Should be pretty standard. I think 6 is where it comes in.
Oh, the Taunt Flash is coming out. Gang very low. Does have Flash and does get himself out. The Ignite ticking away, but certainly not going to have the damage just yet. But very aggressive play, and it is rewarded with a lot of pressure in this bot side now for DFM. Harp still full on HP, as Marble realizes now that this wave is no longer viable for himself and is going to have to back right off to respect the possibility of another taunt coming out of this Shen.
I mean, things going pretty rough for Evie on the top side. I mean, at least he's keeping relatively even in CS. It's not the end of the world, and he's got the experience coming his way as well. So, look, while their health bars might look a bit bleak for him, Harpy's wanting to zone out Marvel as much as possible. And I think that really needs to be the aim of the game. Give Karkun as much room to ramp up as possible.
Gang now returning as Chains connect by Fate. Unfortunately, the charm will not from Aria. Fate finding a very beneficial trade for himself here in the mid lane. Aria now being jumped on. Might have to... Okay, not going to have to expend his flash. Guon's turn now.
I've concerned that the flash turnaround from Fate is a possibility. Even with that little bit of healing from Aria, I think the safe bet, let Guon just pick up this last couple of these minions, Aria get back as quickly as possible, because if Courage suddenly hits 6, Glacial Prison comes over that wall, Aria's dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was a wee way off it, but still, like, maybe, just maybe.
That will be the unfortunate fizzle out, as we see Evie using that public execution, going very aggressively onto Ray Farkey and finding so much damage. The last auto take won't be it. Yes, it will. Will be a trade, however. Flash is lost with both of these top laners. Both will pick up a kill for themselves, and importantly, no longer is first blood gold, so it is just the 300 each.
Well, actually, Ray got 324, so he actually came out on the better end of that deal.
There you go. 2 Void Grubs picked up now for DFM, as Courage is not willing to give over a third, although it could cost him his life. He does have to use that Arctic Assault, is going to get himself back to safety. Flash is well expended by him, and so 3 Void Grubs picked up this time for DFM. One better than last game.
Yeah, look, that's definitely going to help them a little bit here, especially given the spot they find themselves in. They are not struggling nearly as much as they were in that last game in these early stages. They've still got some good team fight. They've got some good save, and they've got some great global pressure. Go on, though. I think in this 1v1, Courage probably comes out on top.
Yeah, is going to go aggressive, but the stun and just walk away is there. Gang, Harp trying to assist both their given junglers. And it looks like blue buff at least will be given over to SoftBank. Not really any way to contest this. And, you know, you got the 3 grubs, give over the blue buff, rather. Feels completely okay. Guon will get this. He does have the smite, and there we do see it.
He does get 6 first, so is going to be able to get himself whatever's, reserves allow, and then he should be able to Grand Skyfall somewhere around the map and look for something. So I think Kakon, if they do, okay, mid lane's looking a bit rough for Fate.
Yeah, very low on HP. Arya though, no ult, and Fate going aggressively. If a charm lands here, he does have one more active of that Spirit Rush available to himself. A very exciting matchup here between these two mid laners. Evie once again going aggressively, and Ray Farkey no way out, but the level 6 there available for Guan on the Pantheon. Unfortunately getting hit there by the public execution means that Evie is able to just dash on out, and no cigar on that gank, unfortunately, and that's a big cooldown now being expended by the side of DFM, ultimately to keep Ray Farkey alive, but you would have loved to have picked up a kill on the back end of it.
No, I'm sorry, yeah, Ray's just a little bit of a liability at this stage. Go on, again, going to be found by Courage, but realistically he should get out of this situation. Arya does have the flash, so I don't think he was any great threat of being jumped on, but that Glacial Prison setup might just make it a little bit dicey.
Yeah, if you get caught off guard, you will quickly find yourself without a health bar, unfortunately, such as League of Legends. Charm will go wide. It's a nice dodge by Fate, ultimately.
Yeah, I think for the most part, you just sort of handshake off and say, well, okay, we'll just leave things as they are for the moment. We don't need to force the issue. Yeah, I'd need to see more out of Ray, if I'm being perfectly honest. Unfortunately, this tank Jace is a real liability in the current state of the game, and well, yeah, if they are going to look to exploit it as much as they possibly can, because Evie just absolutely outclasses the Jace at the moment.
Yeah, definitely doing well in his trades. Lane swap back now. Possible Dragon on the horizon. Neither team yet collect themselves that objective, but priority of the lane will be given over to this SoftBank bottom lane, as has been the case for the entirety of the game thus far.
Right, teleport used. Unfortunately, the teleport might have been used, but there's a very real possibility he ends back up in Fountain if he's not careful. Almost at the Stand United, so potentially, unfortunately the reality is there is a good chance he has to use that to bail out Ray again, so these big ultimates might just get completely sunk into keeping him alive in the 1v1, so they're going to have to be very well utilised and on the right target too, unfortunately.
For sure. You see Gang on the top side of the map. I wonder if they're looking for something here. Courage coming to join his support and top laner. There is Stand United as well as the Grand Skyfall available, so Ray Farkey doesn't have to be too scared. If he has one shot, then that obviously will be a problem, but you'd imagine you can get there in time on the side of DFM. It's kind of what their comp is built to do.
Gon's going to be on the ward there, but yeah, this fight brewing.
His cannot be slowed. The old Sejuani passive always comes in handy. Looking for 6 grubs now. DFM, they're going to at least get one of them with the priority they've been afforded. As this Taunt Flash will once again connect. It connects onto Gang, and he's completely CC'd up. Full of time's good. There's a lot of damage coming down, but it's a second kill found by DFM. Arya goes once again more aggressively forward as Evie is going to have to try and dodge out, but unfortunately, even after the flash will be taken down, and that's 3 kills going over to DFM for 0 of themselves going out. DFM, they put in their stamp here on game number 2. They are up a reasonable amount of gold. They will get 6 Void Grubs. They're going to feel pretty good about themselves.
Feat of Warfare collected. They are well on their way to the Feat of Monster Slaying. I mean, yeah, Elise is a great support in that it allows for an aggressive bot lane, but when you've got someone that ultimately counters you pretty hard in the Shen, because you can deny so much damage, not to mention the fact that you are just intensely squishy. Yeah, that's exactly what we saw there. Gang oversteps, unfortunately, just does not have the HP to survive much of anything as they just bait out the push. They say, yeah, look, we'll go start these grubs, and then you see Gang, he's on the front lines there with Courage, who just eats a chunk out of Arya, I must admit. Yeah, just too far forward, hit with the flash taunt, the follow-up, and it just completely crumbles there. And the bullet time was good for a moment, but only for a moment. I mean, the fact that they didn't even have to commit the Stand United. Oh no, they did, okay, never mind. It was, yeah, okay, so the Stand United Grand Skyfall combo coming in, but largely unneeded.
Yeah. I mean, DFM doing really good. They are now very far ahead and in a pause. But still, I mean, taking stock of the game. 1.5k gold in advantage. They have the 2-0 Ari, which always feels very good. They have 6 Void Grubs, which is going to help on those side lanes. If this Jace is ever left alone, will completely melt through a tower. I think, you know, Evie not yet found his stride in the game, of course. It's, you know, the Ambassador's just trying to scale up, get those items online where she will become a complete menace. But at least for the time being, things feeling reasonably okay for DFM, looking to take game number 2, take us to a third, and keep their dreams of playoffs alive. Looks like Kakun may be having some issues.
It's going to be interesting to see what it is. Because it was the Farsight Oracle that was causing the bug yesterday. So maybe, just maybe, he's been baited out by it again. We'll have to see. I wouldn't have thought there'd be too many of them roaming around this stage of the game. It feels definitely a little bit early, but who knows? Maybe just a preemptive pickup from one of the bot laners. It could be any number of things, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. It could even be something we've never seen before, so just hopefully find out what it is. If not, hopefully get back into the game soon. Still, you know, attention towards the screen here for all the members of
I think I know what it is. Sir, my top lane dies too quickly. There's got to be a bug. No, it's just Jace isn't that good anymore.
Looks like coming back into the game. So, a relatively quick fix, if a fix at all. Courage once again now coming to claim in some of these top camps. The blue buff could be a second of the game for him. Gang finds a chunk, but will have to back on out. Doesn't want to fall prey to that taunt again. So, DFM eating good. Should be able to secure this blue buff. He does have smite. It's absolutely going to be picked up by him.
Not a fostering in this DFM blue side jungle, but I think you gotta respect the threat. The timing here is key though. No Grand Skyfall, no Stand United for Aria. Hart is going to walk on up and find a huge chunk of damage at the hands of Courage and Gang, but there's just no follow-up to finish that kill.
Yeah, it's fine. But ultimately making sure Aria is safe under his tower. You know, can get blindsided a little bit by the Glacial Prison. Won't be happening to him on this occasion.
I mean, even the public execution happens pretty quickly. If you're not on the ball, you can definitely be caught by that, and then the follow-up setup's there. But for the most part, I mean, it's a good game for Aria, who's 2-0. We start to see those items coming online for the side of DFM, and it's a Shojin start for Ray.
Yeah, not against the tank this time in his lane.
Yeah. But I mean, Black Cleaver, I think really only affects Courage at this stage, so I can understand why he's gone slightly that more offensive build. So I think this realistically is just going to be that full bruiser build, almost.
I do hope so, after what we've seen from the Jace thus far. Would like to see a little bit of variety, considering. Whether we do or not, of course, yet to be seen. This tier, he hasn't built any of the components. Flash forward, Chain of Corruption going to be flashed away from. The Stand United used on top of the Grand Skyfall. So
it's kind of like a ball delivery system, but it's a Shen. So.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it falls flat when the enemy team has Flash. But however, Fate has just walked straight into them. Chain of Corruption now available here on the Silas, and will connect, going to force out the cleanse from Kakun.
Yeah, so Grand Skyfall, Stand United, Chains of Corruption used. Marble only burned a Flash. So I definitely don't think that was worth it there.
They will have another opportunity to look for it.
I mean, also Kakun had to burn Flash and cleanse on the re-engage, so...
he flashed to get the Chain of Corruption.
No, he didn't because he missed.
Yeah, but he flashed to
the attack was there.
And it was flashed by Marble. But yeah, a lot committed to just get the flash. They will be able to look for that Grand Skyfall Shen combo again onto Marble rather before his flash is going to be back available. But because of how much was used there in the middle lane, it's going to give over priority to this Dragon to the side of SoftBank, and they're going to be very happy about that. It's the first Dragon of the game, actually, despite being 15 minutes in. Kakun, public execution connects onto him. The bullet time's good, and Evie will be able to claim himself the first kill. So being punished now for an over-aggression towards Marble there in the mid lane. They lose the Dragon. They also lose their AD carry.
I mean, not done just yet in terms of Noxian Blessings, but again, it's not the be-all and end-all. It will go DFM's way here, just because of that minion wave collapsing in. So I suppose you take that where you can. There's still a lead for DFM as well. I don't think that one play onto Kakun is really going to hinder him all that much, but it's just much needed gold in the pockets of, well, Evie, I think probably you prefer it in the hands of Marvel again, but gold is gold. Oh, Ray.
Yeah, Ray going to be focused down. There is no public execution for Evie, though, so he should be fine. Courage now coming in to assist, but not ultimately going to have what it takes to be able to tank up that tower just yet and take this Jason's health bar down to 0. A nice honorable trade up here between these two mid laners. Both of them going to be expending that Ahri ult. Fate now does get usage of his, is going to be locked up. No, yes, he does actually. He does get taunted, but still the mobility is there. No kill going over, but this could lead to yet another tower going in favor of DFM. Ultimately, Fate being on the weak side, exchanging his health, but Varus alone in mid. SoftBank, I mean, it's no one. I'm perplexed. I'm more than perplexed. Kakun maybe thinking the Stand United shield was going to be more than enough, but ultimately wasn't. Gets taken out. That's, again, another death here onto Kakun. Still around the map, they're doing okay. Gold is even. Harp's going to locate Gang. Dodges out of the cocoon and is just going to be wailing on this health bar as Guwon comes up to join him. Harp now getting very low, but Gang having to walk through this tower. Is he even going to be able to get out? He's at least dodged some of that damage. Has the flower and, yes, able to get through.
I'm just so baffled. Oh, okay, so they did, yeah, look for the re-engage.
I guess they find it. Okay,
And
I mean,
Kakun just dies for no reason in the mid lane, knowing full well that there was, I mean, the only way that I think maybe, no, there's just no way. There's no way that he didn't see both of them.
No, he put the Oracle.
Yeah. Like, even if you were looking to bait in that situation, that's not where you stand.
Yeah, Harp now being the focus, but I mean, Shin not necessarily the target you want for SoftBank. They are going to once again claim this blue buff. It's been a focal point of this game, actually. A lot of targeting towards this blue buff here. Does once again claim it.
I don't know. Again, it feels like DFM had a really solid platform to play off of.
Aria going to be committing a lot here, but they do manage to lock down Marble and shut him on down. That's a reset available for the Spirit Rush. There's a little bit of posturing. The Herald now should be able to be started up and honestly collected by DFM. So, you know, much to the sameness as Kakun has been punished for losing his. Sums Marble now will have the same unfortunate demise. Look at him. Now Fate dodging out of that very close taunt, but still he's going back in. There's a lot of lockdown. Fate flashing on out. What ult can he take? He's not going to need to for now, as at least one kill does go over to the side of SoftBank, and it's the jungler taken out. The flash forward, and Evie is in between three people. Fate comes on back in. Harp very low. Ray Farki even lower, and in fact just going to be taken out. It is going to be somehow DFM in the 4v5, finding the angle, finding the play, and able to take down the kills. Tenacious little team, the SoftBank.
Yeah, look, it's Asia Pacific in a nutshell. They're full of tenacity. They're consistently, frequently looking for that angle back into a deficit or looking to expand those advantages. So, yeah, look, I don't know. It just feels like DFM were in such a solid position, and then once again, just absolute absurdity happens, and they just throw it away.
Yeah, let's go on blocking out a lot of damage, but you know, here gets knocked up in the middle of his leap and just taken out very quickly. Gang with the repel gets himself out of harm's way, and yes, you're doing a lot of damage here onto Courage, but ultimately it's the flash forward coming out of that Sejuani that locks down Kakun for long enough. They get the trade, but Ray Farki pays for that as well.
I don't know, and I mean the big problem for me is while Arya is having a pretty phenomenal game, it's still an Arya, and it doesn't feel like those 3 kills.
We're ulting. We're ulting straight down mid. Oh no, we're locked under tower, but we have charmed up Evie, and Evie's just going to be taken out, but he does buy a lot of time. And SoftBank, unfortunately, making a uncharacteristic misplay there in terms of just the overcommit out of Evie. Fate as well has gone under the tower. He's taking a significant amount of damage, will live. Courage, Gang, Marble, all having to run away. It's going to be at least Gang going down, and the piercing arrow connects as well. And DFM and SoftBank are just fighting tooth and nail. Each one never really getting too far ahead of the other. But at least in this instance, it's DFM who do take their claim on the win.
This feels like, you know, the old if we don't know what we're doing, how could they possibly know what we're doing? Because it feels so hard to make sense of any of this.
Into the tower, but he does get...
He baits
shield
Evie
off.
in.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely, in my mind, cannot conceivably justify any of what we just watched.
It's time for another Khan. It's time for another Khan. 3k HP. There is no jungler here, and unfortunately for the side of SoftBank, Harp will be taken out, but it is just the withdrawal fate. Chain of Corruption lands, and it lands well, and he's going to get himself a second withdrawal. No, he's actually going to choose to go the other way, but look at Marble. Marble on the Misfortune is rounding them in. He is the sheepdog, and he's found his pin. Arya able to get himself a reset, will surely be able to get himself out. The public execution not quite in range, and so 2 people will survive here. Actually, only 1 will stay alive with the Voracious buff. They do get the other Khan, but it's kind of all for naught. You know, you only have the 1 left now, and that's a bunch of gold, 200 a pop, so, you know, 800 gold, nothing to scuff at.
I genuinely just cannot justify any of what we've just witnessed in
Mate,
the last
I'm loving it.
3
I'm loving
minutes.
it.
This is so wild, especially with a playoff spot on the line. You love to see it though. Like, you got to try something. You got to try anything at this stage. And DFM already being a game down, just conceit for some reason, just going at it. You know, let's throw something. If it sticks, it sticks. If not, well, who cares? We'll just make something happen. And for some reason, they've come out on top in the last few fights. I couldn't even tell you why, but they have. And DFM, look, they're making it look good.
Yeah, Chemtech Dragon as the second Dragon of the game secured at only 22 minutes. So no real Dragon Soul win condition alive in this one. Just very little focus surrounding that Dragon. A lot of it being, curiously, on DFM's blue buff, as a matter of fact. Now, Arya, being that he does have that withdrawal, is just going to go very aggressively here. Lands the charm, lands the kill. Gang just completely eliminated from this fight. Is going to now mean that a 4v5 to potentially defend what is the remainder of your base. And in fact, Fate still just pushing away the bot lane. Here will come the Pantheon ult, and here comes so much of the damage. Evie with it all left to do as Fate looking for the recall, is trying to get back, and Evie not able to create enough distance. It's going to be a triple kill going over to Guwon. At least, you know, Evie, as well as the bullet time, able to take down the minion wave. Does mean that no tower realistically being taken out for now. Recall, I mean, respawns coming through as Gang does come back, and Guwon just unfortunately stuck in that base. No support really being able to be offered to him, does go down as well, but still, it's another successful push coming out of
DFM have no right to be in the position that they are, but look, they are making it look good. Yeah, brilliant play. They realize that Arya has the opportunity to set up something big here. They go in for it. Arya doesn't get punished off the Glacial Prison either, and the Grand Skyfall under tower. I mean, it was in front of tower last time. This time it is just under tower, and unfortunately Marble locks himself into the worst possible position.
Gets charmed.
Yeah, just hit by everything. Gang will fall. Arya gets withdrawn, I think. No, he doesn't in the end. He survives in the end, that's right. I mean, it likely would have timed out by now, but my God, DFM just absolutely limit testing this game right now.
Yeah, testing the limits, and for the most part, finding them without having to lose too much. Now, game is definitely not done. They do have themselves a sizable lead, but we've seen much bigger leads, unfortunately, unravel very quickly. I am a little perplexed by this Elise pick, ultimately. I don't feel like, you know, you pick the Elise, you want to be able to bully your lane, and they did have push in their lane, but certainly weren't able to bully it. In fact, it was Harp, for the most part, that was bullying the lane, looking for those taunts if he finds it on the Elise, just completely one-shotting. Marble, admittedly, you know, for the side of SoftBank, is the only person that's actually up in gold. Fate is playing well, and it's the side lanes that are, well, I guess the jungle mainly that is struggling.
Yeah, I think it was purely that they look at it, Varus is easily exploited. They can go for the tower dives with the Sejuani, with the Elise just bail out and being able to repel off and out of tower aggro. So I think that's what the ultimate plan was, but they then just opt into the 2v1 lane anyway, rather than trying to just shut down Ray, which I think realistically was just your easiest avenue to success. Yeah. Just go and absolutely bully the levy kick.
Arya goes aggressive, but does miss out on all of that damage. His Spirit Rush now gone. Harp very low, does flash away from the public execution. Dicey. Dicey, one misstep, and, you know, this lead they've found themselves at will just unravel. But at least this time, all it's going to cost is a bit of tempo. Flash as well from Hart, but, you know, they did lose the flash from Gang as well, ultimately. Mid lane tower will be secured as well, so opening up the map a lot more for SoftBank. As Baron and vision around said Baron is going to be the aim of the game.
Yeah, look, neither team really feels like it's in a spot where it can just safely outright take a Baron. Chemtech, Drake, third of the game, 26 minutes is up in just under a minute now. You can see DFM looking to shove out these lanes, get that map priority so they can take it for themselves. Realistically, this game has already been so volatile that the likelihood of a Dragon Soul actually coming into play is pretty low, I think.
Yeah.
Or it could just be as likely that we see an Elder Drake coming through to decide the game. So, yeah, it's a bit of a coin toss, really.
That's right. Classic, there's a 50% chance we either do or don't see the Elder Dragon. Keep in mind, no flash. They haven't utilized this Pantheon Shen combo outside of that one attempt, which...
Oh, no, they've been doing it pretty religiously. He died under that inhib tower.
Oh, so much used on Marble, but he does sidestep. And he's got that Bloodthirster now to heal back up. And Arya, once again, is going to be without the Arya ult. What does SoftBank choose to do, though? Not at the moment heading towards this Dragon. Mid lane control afforded to the side of DFM, just staunching out those waves. As
yeah, I think they're just going to go for it here. Stand United, Grand Skyfall, try and deal with...
Running Fate. But Fate creates enough distance, despite the slow. Just a little off the mark there as both those ultimates, and as well as Ari's ultimate, is going to be down. The flash, it's going to be slowing onto Guwon as Evie as well inside there. And oh my lord, Kakun has been completely one-shot. The stand United used onto Evie there from the hijack that did come out of Fate. Still Harp looking aggressively, but it is the turnaround. Marble in the back lines trying to find the damage. Will be able to secure one kill for himself as Ray Farki limping away. Luckily for Arya, that Spirit Rush back up and available for himself will stay alive. He's still trying to trade aggressively with Fate and is doing a reasonably good job, all things considered. But Fate going aggressive now. Does he land the chain? He's not going to go for it as the teleport now being committed by Ray Farki to assist his mid laner. A sketchy play. DFM once again punished for an overstep, and now the Baron on the cards for the side of SoftBank.
I mean, oh gosh. Yeah, no, this is a Baron. This is free Baron.
Arya does have teleport. He can get back down there, but no ultimate. Ray Farki, he's just getting shred through. Gang trying to do the damage. He's kind of run out of it, and Ray Farki, much the same, has run out of health. Courage getting very low, though, but ultimately will be able to secure the Baron, and now SoftBank in prime position to start trying to take some of these objectives and find their march here and find their ticket to the playoffs.
Yeah. Like, for some reason, DFM is so concerned. They're more concerned about pulling off this Pantheon Shen combo than they are about giving space to Kakun. Like, it's bizarre, all said and done. And he just absolutely eats it because of it. They overcommitted towards Fate, who, I mean, he's a Silas. He's not even super far ahead. He's not the biggest threat. And yeah, I look, it's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster of emotion.
It is. Now they are able to take out Evie, so it is a consolation prize, but you know, it's at the cost of Marble picking up a flurry of kills here as he does secure that double kill we saw. Picture in picture while the replay was going on, it was DFM who did secure themselves their second Dragon of the game. But I mean, that's not really that impactful, at least in my opinion. Top lane tower now being sieged upon. Baron minion's going to help out a lot. Not feeling like risking walking up. You know, you can very quickly be collapsed on. There's teleport not available for the side of Evie, or for Evie rather, who can quickly make his way up into this top side to join his team. None to answer as well from DFM, although they do have globals for sure. They find their way onto Arya. He is just going to be able to walk on out of that thanks to those Mercury treads. Courage taking a huge chunk of damage and going to be able to be taken out there with that piercing arrow. The charm as well from Arya, and Double kill now going over to the side of DFM as they march down. Fate as well as Evie though trying to 2v5 as Marble will join. The bullet time has to be massive. He actually doesn't even have it.
He used it under the tower.
He used it under the tower and so doesn't have the bullet time. It's only Marble. He flashes away and he gets the double. Oh baby, a triple. That was his triple collateral on Summoner's Rift.
That, again, just bizarre series of events. They look like they got the turnaround, and then Marble just hits like an absolute truck. He's 3 items deep, has the Swifties as well, so he's impossible to pin down. You look at it, yeah, so they went for the engage onto Aria. They thought that this was the play, and ultimately I think it was. He's got a lot in the pocket, and there you go. Bullet time channeling up. Karkun takes some big damage, but Harp spent so long zoning out Fate. Evie's only just getting here. Skyfall in, piercing arrow onto Courage, and Aria follows up with a great setup onto Gang. The problem now begins here. Karkun in a choke point. He's going to be jumped on by Fate. This time the Stand United is used to keep him alive, but they just don't keep tabs onto Marble, who 2-shots him out. And then, yeah, the double collat. That is just cinema. Boom, boom. Easy money.
If that bounced 3 times, it was going to be a triple collat.
If SHG were playing sharpshooter, it was done.
Unfortunately, for DFM, it was a back of a great play. Courage overstepping. They're able to punish, but Marble mopping up the backside of that team fight. Now, importantly, did lose Flash, so Aria, if he finds his way onto Marble, is a lot more vulnerable. There's a cleanse available.
I hope we get the roller coaster graphic again, because the gold swung back in favor of DFM once again. Like
the heart rate monitor?
Yeah, it is just, I mean, it's been up and down. I think it's changed hands about 6 or 7 times now, probably closer to 8 even.
Yeah.
No objectives on the board for the next 2 minutes at the very least. So I think that is ultimately how the rest of this game is going to go. It is just going to be an absolute mess, and then someone missteps, a fight happens, somehow it gets turned around, and then Marble cleans up.
For sure. Now, coming back into things, very even is this game. Very back and forward.
Aside from the bot lane where there's a 3k gold diff.
Yeah, look, Marble is definitely performing very well. I think this man in particular very, very much wants to make it into those playoffs. Aria and Fate will once again meet.
Aria is just struggling to land those taunts. It's rough. But yeah, I mean, you look at it, that gold difference, Infinity Edge Bloodthirster, just everything that a Misfortune could want at a stage of the game. In fact, pretty accelerated considering the state of the game that we're in.
4 items is this Misfortune. It's going to be hitting like a freight train. We saw it in their last fight, but even more so now that she does have that armor penetration online. The Infinity Edge to even bolster those crits that are coming out. Just one more item to go. Posturing up on this top side, neither team paying much attention towards the dragon, which will be spawning in 45 more seconds. I do imagine SoftBank will, find this recall and look to try and posture around it, just secure it to make sure that Keemtech Soul doesn't come into play. I don't think either team benefits all that much off it, but you don't want to give it over if you don't have to. And with the strength that you see in Marble, if you play around him well, you're probably going to win these fights, because ultimately the reason the gold lead is somewhat even is because of how far ahead Pantheon is over a Sejuani, and that is not really the point of the map that you care about a gold lead existing in.
Yeah.
Iron Pot even coming out. I mean, Courage is at the point of the game where he's like, yeah, I've got my 2 items. I don't really care about anything else. I'm just going to get that immediate combat strength. And
what do you mean? This is my full build.
Yeah. I mean, essentially it is. He's at the point of the game where you're just giving over your camps to your carries. It's better for Fate or Evie to pick them up, Marble even, until he gets to that last item. As SoftBank, they're going to be willing to just give over this dragon and instead look towards the Baron, perhaps. They haven't started it up yet. They're rather sitting there to bait. I'd be interested to see if there's any oracles up and available for the side of DFM. They'll get this dragon nice and quickly and be able to head up towards the Baron that is only just spawning, so they know for sure it's not being hit just yet. Now SoftBank off the spawn will start hitting it, and DFM with that oracles coming through are aware of the goings on. But how are they going to navigate this team fight? It's looked pretty good for SoftBank if they're able to play around Marble. Evie finds Harp off on the side and is doing a substantial amount of damage, but Evie might just be taken out. He is going to get the shield off at least to buy some time, and actually the flash away. Aria now completely uninvolved in the bottom side of this fight, has only 1 more usage of that Spirit Rush, but not going to be able to use it for anything but defense as he does try and get away. 3 members of DFM on the wrong side of the map, and Guwon going to have to play Mother Darkling as he goes in, sacrifices himself to try and alleviate the pressure away from Aria, who is just going to have to commit that teleport to getting on out of there. Will be able to do so if he able to buy enough time to make sure Aria can't contribute. Does mean that the fight ends in a 3-for-1, and it does mean that this Baron will be going over to SoftBank.
I'm just so confused at DFM's willingness to just completely sack Karkun for a kill onto the Ambassador. Like, why? Yeah, cool. It's like it's pat statting nearly. They're just going in while leaving your AD carry, who ultimately I think is your most significant source of damage in the team fight at this stage. Because you look at it, they come in, yes, Fate has a flank. He's got a brilliant flank, in fact, and Karkun is going to be caught out here. But you see, the split, Aria, Guwon, Ray, all running to this top side, leaving Karkun there. Ray has to jump in to try and keep him alive. But you're a tank Jace. You ain't keeping anyone alive.
Yeah, and is consequently taken out in very quick fashion. Guwon as well here. I mean, doing a good job to make sure Aria doesn't go down. Because keep in mind, this game is very, very even, but Aria is currently something like 6-0-10, wielding a 700 gold shutdown. So the worst thing possible for DFM is obviously they lose the Baron there, but if they gave over the shutdown as well, then that is almost game ending.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times gold lead has changed hands in 37 minutes.
Yeah, it's been a back and forward. It's what you want to see out of the Civil Wars, though.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a lot more fun to have it this way than very one-dimensional. Marble walking up, trying to find damage on the tower. The stun does connect, and unfortunately for Harp, he will be paying the price. Does get taken out very quickly. The inhibitor taken not long after. Is Ray Farkey going to have to teleport back to his base to provide a little bit of a front line? Hopefully Karkun able to find something, but unfortunately the Cocoon does connect, and his namesake not doing well against that ability as he is just taken out. Marble does flash backwards. Guwon will be able to secure that kill. It's a shutdown to him. But the rest of the fight going disastrously as Courage going to be able to limp away on such a minute amount of health. Aria and Ray Farkey, the solo laners of DFM, with so much to do to keep their playoff contention alive. But SoftBank looking so strong. They did importantly lose that ranged member of their team, and with that will not be able to pressure out this tower and going to have to head back to their base, top up those healths, and head back out onto the Rift.
It's criminal that Guwon just completely diving the back line with a Grand Skyfall is what helped them stave off this. And I mean, Karkun gets jumped on by Gang, the bullet time combo. Yeah, there's nothing doing. You haven't got a cleanse, you haven't got a flash, you haven't got the peel, you haven't got Mikhails to keep you alive. Stand United is already gone because Hart died under that inhib tower, and then Guwon dives right into the face of things and takes out Marble, which means that they get one Nexus tower, but they cannot threaten anything else because there's just too much damage coming out of Aria.
Now back to live. SoftBank now heading out to the bottom side of the map. This gold lead in the AD carry position is seemingly insurmountable. You're a full build Misfortune now. She has the cleanse, and when she doesn't have the cleanse, which is currently, she now has the Mercurial Scimitar, so still going to be able to get out of that CC, namely, most likely, I should say, the charm or the stun from Guwon, and at which point should be able to just almost free hit. And yeah, I mean, Aria, he's still playing well. He's finding these charms in the key members in the team fights, but not really got the follow-up for him just yet.
So Serpent's Fang coming out for Ray. Paired with the Jack Shows and the Shojins and a Fimbulwinter. Yeah, this Jace's identity is as a top laner has been completely ruined by a simple nerf.
For sure. Yeah, Dragon spawning, SoftBank. Rather than hedge their bets on a non-baroned up minion wave pushing, they are just going to turn their attention now towards this Dragon. I think DFM should be very happy to give it over and just allow them time to get some items. I mean, namely, this Varus is very much struggling, really wants to get that Juck Show online and get some tankiness to hopefully survive the immense amount of burst that we're seeing coming out of the SoftBank roster.
I mean, the gamble should have been Baron there. Unfortunately, there's just too much threat.
There's also no Baron.
That too, yeah. He's a good 2 minutes away. So realistically, there was no win situation there for DFM. Case of timing just being their worst enemy, as it has been all game. So Like in an ideal world, the timing's there. They can gamble between the two, which is we are seeing a lot of teams do at this stage in the game. But because it's staggered now, there's just nothing.
Yeah, uphill battle for DFM. Admittedly, you win one team fight and all of a sudden you're back into this game. It's not like it's inconceivable that they, get one team fight win and march down mid and end the game, especially when death timers will be so long at this point in the game. 60 seconds for almost every single champion now it would be. Gang of the Hex Flash and Cocoon lands, but onto a minion. Here we go, the combo coming out once again, not able to find their way onto Marble though. Guon does eventually, but he's just going to be able to cleanse on out of there. Arya on the flank. Does he find this misfortune? No, it's his first death of the game, and it's a League of Legends classic. It's a tale as old as time. Make one mistake and lose, and with that, DFM will be taken out, and unfortunately for them, playoff contention is going to be over. It's SoftBank going to be the Japanese representation heading into the playoffs, and what a performance and what a series to have done it for.
Yeah, unfortunately for DFM, they are their own worst enemy. They just commit again too deeply, too heavily to try and make a play. And as a result, yeah, SoftBank, who, they went from bottom of the leaderboard for the first 2 weeks of play to now climbing into 6th. They are now in playoffs. They are going to have a contention towards that, top spot going into playoffs. They could make a dream run from this point on. So there's miracles that could arise from the lower bracket.
Look, the storyline is brewing. The storyline is, in fact, brewing. The SoftBank roster turning on in the backstage of the regular season. This is their last game against their compatriots, their sister squad, if you will, in DFM, both coming from the LJL into the LCP. Now, see them on their stage, they get to take their bow. They are going to be heading into our playoffs. I think a dominant series in some metric where, once they eventually stabilized, they were very commanding with that lead. It took a while. I think there's a lot of kinks to iron out before they do ultimately play. I believe Tuesday will be when we start to see them. There's a couple days between there.
Evie's just absolutely elated to have it done and pick up the win there. Yeah, and look, unfortunately, that is it's going to be a bit of a tough pill to swallow, I think, realistically, for DFM, who again also had a pretty spectacular run towards the end of the split. And even more, unfortunately, that is the last time we will see DFM this season.
Yeah, that is the split now done and dusted for them. I think, the takeaways, they got the one series win up against the Chiefs, so they're clearly not our 8th place team. But I think more importantly than that, you've got to look at how they've improved from the beginning of the split.
They did also take a game away from Viking.
Exactly.
So, they have looked pretty solid on the whole.
Yes, exactly. You look at this team where they started in week 1 to where they ended, you can definitely tell there's been improvements. I think they've somewhat solidified their identity. They're having some problems, I think, with Karkun staying alive and dishing out the damage in these team fights, which if you are able to take this, next month and a half that they essentially have to continue improving and building on what they're already showing, you find yourself a legitimate second damage threat. Give Karkun some time to get more experience on these 80 carries. Pair him up alongside Arya, who's already doing what you'd want and more. 99% of the time, you have a legitimate threat here in this DFM roster that you can look to legitimately take not only the big teams in our region down, but look internationally as well.
Yeah, and look, the next thing is, at what point do we just all agree that Jace just is not doing anything of significance in this top lane? It felt like a non-factor there. And I do rate the Grand Skyfall Standard United combo, but it definitely felt like it just forces the big gamble play into really, really dangerous situations. Yeah,
it almost feels to me like it's something you want to pair with something like Jin that can just, okay, you guys do that. I'm a chill back here and just throw some abilities out at it, because for Karkun, maybe even the lethality Varus was what he needed to go for here. Ultimately, they do have a lot of damage. He could have opted into that, but it just felt like, yes, you've committed a lot, and generally, up until the end stage of this game, they were finding the kills they needed from that combination, or at least getting a lot of summoners out, but it was Karkun always paying the price. Now, this was a good team fight out of him. He gets 2 kills, but Marvel, he's not going to be one-upped. He eventually turns it around and picks himself up at a triple at the back end, as we will see very shortly.
Oh, this is going to be a very interesting angle. And yeah, look, Karkun doing what he can, but there's a lot to chew through. He just gets absolutely whomped out, and boom, it's right here, the double up as he turns and burns. Harp into right. What a camera angle.
And that's that.
Yeah,
that's all she wrote for that fight. Still, there was a fight that DFM won, right? They did pick up 4 kills for just the 3 in return, but it was where the gold went to. It was this man Marble, and I think definitely a well-deserved MVP of the series. You know, game 1.
Gold differential at end, 5,300.
Yep. Yeah, he was definitely very far ahead. Game 1, not necessarily the greatest Israel performance. Not a bad one, don't get me wrong. It was just, you know, everyone was doing their part really on SoftBank, but this game 2 was just phenomenal out of him. Just barely ever mispositioning, and if he was, generally survived anyway because of the safety that's provided, you know, by the extra healing and the shield that's given by MF and her item builds. But yeah, I don't know. Take a look at some of the highlights once again. This one, I don't even remember this. Oh, this was the fight where it was so close and felt like DFM might have had an angle, but Courage, last second, truly just turning it around a little bit here.
Yeah.
Get Evie some time, and unfortunately, just Kakun completely destroyed in the midst of 3 melee champs.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are just continuing that trend. Now, look, to be fair, this was a brilliant answer from DFM. They've truly limit tested this, and yeah, just the grand skyfall right on Marvel's head as he starts up the bullet time. That is just League of Legends timing at its finest. He gets jumped on by Arya as well, who just completely bypasses Courage. So yeah, look, DFM, they showing that they know what they need to do in this competition, but unfortunately they're also showing us some of the fastest ways to undo those successes.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, while this was a 2-0, I don't think it tells the story necessarily. I think both games, and we saw it in the gold graphs, right, when we were looking, both games were extremely back and forward, fairly inseparable were these teams in terms of those gold leads and whatnot. I think the undoing of game 1 somewhat came down to the fact that so many dragons were given over early game. It was still DFM who found themselves in commanding positions a lot of the time, but not able to secure any of those objectives off the back end. I think some poor recall timings coming out, and maybe some target selection issues in the team fights that was their undoing there. And in game number 2, again, DFM, it looked like they should have this one in wraps, and that highlight we did see just before under the inhibitor tower on the bottom side, but unfortunately, again, just falling slightly short, and SoftBank able to capitalize and get it done eventually.
And it really doesn't help that a lot of that shutdown gold this game has gone on to go on. This was a particularly bizarre play to me. So you leave your Jace and your Varus completely isolated in a 4v2, all just so you can go and take down the Embesser. Like, you then also have to sack your on off just to try and keep your deathless at this stage Ari alive.
Which importantly he did, but yeah, this was the last one. I mean, Marble a bit of a slow cleanse. I don't think he felt like he needed to use it, but then seeing that the Ari's behind him, quickly use it. The movement speed from Mercurial Scimitar creates even more distance, and with Guwon going down so quickly, there's not a whole lot you could do. Karkun, yeah, you're never tearing through those health bars all that quickly, but that was the very first series of the night, done and dusted. It's going to be SoftBank joining us in our playoffs coming next week, which is a very, very exciting concept indeed. Up next, of course, the Vietnamese showcase. It's Team Secret Wales going up against GAM, and I, for one, am very excited. But before we do get there, we are going to head to a break. Once again, thank you for the first series, both DFM and SoftBank, but we have another banger in store for you, and we will see you right after our break.
Welcome to Noxus 1v1, where we have your favorite LEC players go up against each other, where first skill, first turret, or first 100 CS wins. Today, we have M. Koisupa and G2 Hansama going up against each other, playing only 1 out of 18 Noxus champs, which they get to choose by spinning the wheel. So let's find out who wins.
So let's see what we get. I hope we get a funny champion, not Rel, not Vladimir or something like that. Oh, we got Ambessa.
Ambessa?
I think it's
okay.
fine. I think it's fine. It's almost Vladimir, was so close. What?
We have missed this.
I lose my Q as well.
What? Oh yeah, actually if you miss here, you miss it.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Oh shit. I forgot. Oh my god, I missed it. Okay. Oh, guys.
I don't know what I'm doing, no, yo. But this champion looks so fun.
No!
But what is the damage?
Actually, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
this champion is weird.
I played into Ambessa in lane swap, and sometimes he can 1v2, it's crazy.
Yes, you can.
LCP 리그 자체가 이번에 처음 생긴 리그이기도 하고 여러 나라의 팀들이 모여서 리그를 한다는 것 자체가 되게 색다르고 재밌는 것 같습니다.
やっぱり参加しているチーム自体が競技力が高いリーグで上位のチームなので、そこでお互いに競技力が上がる中国、韓国を除いたアジア地域のレベルの底上げになるのかなというふうには。
今回のリーグだともうおそらく全員が本当に最も強いレベルの相手と常に戦うことになるってことで、一戦一戦も本当にちょっと気が抜けないような戦いになるのかなと思ってます。
ロースターも去年と変わってすごく手堅いチームになったなっていうふうに感じるし、
저희는 이제 소프트뱅크라는 AJL 팀이고 저희 팀원들이 이제 많은 좀 AJL 팬분들이 아실 만한 탑에는 이제 에비 선수가 있고,
에비 선수는 팀에서 이제 든든하게 탱커를 맡아주는 역할이라고 생각하고
리더 같은 역할을 하고 있고 팀 이제 분위기 메이커도 하고 있는 것 같아요.
모두를 놀라게 할 만한 선수요. 그거는 제가 될 것 같습니다. 항상 하면서 이제 발전하고 있다고 생각해서 밑바닥에서 이제 시작한 만큼 모두를 깜짝 놀라게 할 수 있습니다.
커리지 선수는 나이도 어리고 유망하다고 생각해서 앞으로가 좀 많이 기대되는 선수고,
일단 갱형이 좀 오래 일본에 생활했으니까 일본어에 대해서 되게 유창한 편이어서 저희가 하고 싶은 얘기들을 잘 통역처럼 해주는 것 같아요.
またソフトバンクホークスゲーミングっていうチームの名前を背負って大会に参加できるっていうのもすごく貴重な経験だと思うので、貴重な経験だと思います。
저는 이 팀에 와서 생각보다 놀란 게 이제 마블 선수가 좀 그래도 되게 잘하는 선수다라고 생각이 들 것 같고,
마블 선수도 제가 AJL 내에서는 되게 신예라고 얘기를 많이 들었는데 그중에서 좀 되게 잘하는 유망주라고 들어서 마블 선수도 아마 되게 잘할 것 같고,
인게임에서 팀을 이제 선수들한테 어디로 가야 될지 방향성을 좀 제시해주는 리더가 이제 페이트 선수 같고,
저희 팀에 있는 선수들이 경쟁력이 있는 선수들이라고 생각을 해서 저희 리그도 뭔가 가능성이 되게 크게 있다고 생각합니다.
国際戦のトーナメントとリーグはどう違うかっていうのは、やっぱりトーナメントっていうのは負けたらそこで終わりじゃないですか。そのリーグっていうのはやっぱり学びながら戦える場所だと思ってるので、やっぱりその試す余地っていうのがトーナメントはやっぱなくなるので、その点リーグ戦は試す余地っていうのがすごく大幅にあって、それによって新しい戦術とかチャンピオンとかで新しいものがリーグ戦によってのおかげで見れるようになるんじゃないかなと思いますね。
이 롤이란 게임을 정말 일본 내에서 좀 인기를 좀 끌어올리고 싶고, 그리고 소프트뱅크를 응원하는 팬분들 입장에서 얘네 팀은 정말 한 팀이구나, 다 같이 하구나, 이제 그런 생각을 가질 수 있게 하고 싶습니다. 그게 성공이라고 생각합니다.
올해 처음으로 이렇게 아시아 퍼시픽으로 통합이 돼가지고 되게 많은 게 바뀌었다라고 생각을 하는데,
やっぱベトナムだったり台湾っていうのはやっぱり強いなっていうことは思ってたので、 LJL とそこを加わってレベルはとても上がると思います。
나라 대항전 느낌이 있으니까 좀 더 약간 책임감 있게 해야 될 것 같고
自分もこれからもっとレベルアップしていかないとなという気合が入っている気持ちでいっぱいです。
チームメンバー、トップのレファーキーさんは自分からしたらお兄ちゃんみたいな存在ですね。
약간 피드백이 좀 빠르더라고요, 친구가. 한번 말해주면 그거 기억해서 시도해보고 성장할 수 있는 친구라고 생각이 들어서 개인적으로 좋아하는 선수입니다.
自分は結構連戦などを一人で耐えて集団戦で活躍するというプレースタイルが自分のスタイルだと思ってたんですけど、個人的にやりたいプレースタイルはもっと一人でゲームを動かすような攻撃的なプレイヤーになりたいと思ってるので、そこの変化を見て楽しんでいただけたらなと思います。
관모는 이번 처음 들었는데 계속 이제 한국에만 있다가 이제 해외로 오는 것도 처음이고 배우면서 약간 서툴지만 좀 많이 말을 하려고 노력하는 스타일이고
그럼 제가 원래부터 좀 주도적인 선수였고 하자고 하는 성향이 좀 강해서 인게임에서는 주도적이게 설계하는 역할을 맡고 있는 것 같고 그런 거를 바탕에서 좀 디테일한 걸 뭔가 하나하나 다 조정하면서 할 수 있는 게 저만의 장점이라고 생각합니다.
AD キャリーに新しくミラン君が入ったんですけど、
自分の役割やっぱキャリーというロールではありますけど、自分のやらないといけない仕事をちゃんとやって自分の余裕を持ってキャリーをするっていうのが大事だと思いますね。
아리아 선수는 이제 제가 느끼기엔 가장 재능 있는 선수 같아요.
DFM 내에서 제가 맡을 수 있는 역할이 이제 저도 되게 경험을 많이 쌓았다 보니까 어느 정도 중심을 잡아줄 수 있는 게 제일 크지 않나라고 생각을 합니다.
サポートのハープはフレンドリーな感じで面白い人ですね。チームの中でも一番コールもしますし、エンゲージのチャンスもずっと見てくれるっていう頼もしい人ですね。
아무래도 서포터는 이제 좀 팀한테 약간 잘 맞춰줘야 된다고 생각하거든요. 정글이랑 서포터의 합이 제일 중요하다고 생각하는데 관모 약간 잘 도와주면서 게임하다 보면은 뭐 그게 약간 좋은 결과로 이어지지 않을까 생각합니다.
팀마다 고유의 색깔이 다른데 그런 팀들 중에서 강팀들이 서로 만나서 경기를 하는 거기 때문에 되게 흥미있는 게임이 많이 있을 거라고 생각합니다.
물론 당장에도 물론 자신감이 있지만 멀리 본다면 더 강해질 수 있는 팀이라고 생각하기 때문에 굉장히 재밌을 것 같아요.
저는 이번에 DFM이 LCP 리그에서 성공을 거둘 수 있을 거라고 생각하고
성공의 의미는 이제 저는 롤드컵 출전하는 게 가장 큰 목표로 두고 있거든요.
決して弱いチームだとは全く思ってなくて、やはりまず一つ目の成功は LCP リージョンで優勝すること、チャンピオンになることなので、
その成功のために全力でやっていきたいと思ってます。
Em cảm thấy rất là hãnh diện và tự hào khi mình là một trong những người Việt Nam có cơ hội cọ xát ở giải đấu LCP lần này. Đây là một cơ hội tốt để em gặp những tuyển thủ giỏi ở những khu vực lớn.
Đối với em tân binh mới đánh giải như em thì em nghĩ cũng hơi áp lực. Nhưng mà em vẫn sẽ tự tin để đánh giải LCP lần này.
Ý nghĩa với em là cái giải đấu lần này chắc là coi như là lần đầu tiên em đánh ở quốc tế đi. Tại vì nó cũng lớn rồi nên là cái tham vọng của em là sắp tới là rất là cao. Tham vọng chỉ có tham vọng thi đấu với tham vọng thành tích các thứ này nọ hơn.
Hiện tại team em đang có 7 thành viên và anh Taki là đội trưởng.
Và trong game thì Taki cũng làm rất là tốt vai trò đội trưởng của mình khi mà dẫn dắt được những người trẻ hơn mình làm tốt vai trò đó.
Cá nhân em thấy một điểm khá là riêng biệt là em có thể tự tin đánh với bất kỳ mọi AD nào và em cũng có thể tạo ra được sự tự tin cho mọi người với cái vị trí của mình.
SD thì là khác với Taki một xíu.
Thì em cảm thấy anh ấy rất là trầm tính, ít nói và cũng rất là hòa đồng luôn.
Em nghĩ là lần chơi lại này thử thách lớn nhất là bản thân em. Còn những đội khác thì em nghĩ là em với mọi người có thể làm được là lo chính bản thân mình với đợi trước là được. Không quan ngại những đội khác. Tại vì vừa rồi em nghỉ một thời gian ấy nên là em hơi dè chừng một xíu về bản thân em.
Còn người đi rừng, mình có tới 2 người đi rừng thì mình sẽ nói Hito trước.
Em nghĩ là em cần thay đổi nhiều thứ hơn, kiểu nói nhiều hơn cho đồng đội mình hiểu mình hơn.
Còn người đi rừng còn lại là Gcom.
Thì anh ấy lúc nào cũng là cười vui vui, nói tạo không khí.
Thì em nghĩ là với em là người chơi trẻ nên là em nghĩ em có kỹ năng để em đọ với các bạn đó.
Mình cũng có 2 người chơi đường trên, thì một bạn là Hero 02, thì bạn ấy cũng đã thi đấu ở Vietjet cũng khá là lâu rồi, cũng là một người chơi về dạng có kinh nghiệm rồi.
Khi mình đối đầu gặp gỡ với những tuyển thủ mạnh như vậy thì nó làm mình có ý chí phải cố gắng nhiều hơn để có thể đối đầu với những đối thủ đó.
Còn bạn còn lại là một bạn nhân tố trẻ mà Spirit Wales vừa mới tuyển về.
Bản thân em đã chuẩn bị cùng với đội rất là nhiều thứ, từ luyện tập rồi đến giờ giấc sinh hoạt, rồi các chiến thuật thi đấu các thứ như nào. Em đã rất là cố gắng để có thể thích nghi với giải đấu lần này.
DMX thì cũng là một tân binh của từng thi đấu tại...
Dạ, em nghĩ em chuẩn bị tinh thần thật tốt khi đánh giải LCP lần này.
Team Wales trẻ, đó chính là Daire. Em nghĩ nó không có gì quá là đặc biệt, chỉ là có những tuyển thủ trẻ lần đầu được thi đấu một giải đấu lớn với niềm khao khát được chứng minh bản thân mình. Thì em nghĩ phong cách chơi của đội em tại giải sắp tới khá là thú vị.
Chắc chắn khả năng cao Spirit Wales sẽ đánh theo kiểu hối chiến.
Vì đội của mình trái mà, nên áp lực là đương nhiên là có. Nhưng mà bọn em sẽ cố gắng để thích nghi.
Em nghĩ đội em đánh khá là hay. Nếu mà cố gắng thì thành quả nó sẽ gặt được thôi.
Em mong chờ em và cả đội cùng nhau vô địch giải LCP lần này. Đầu tiên thì em nghĩ là em sẽ cảm thấy rất là vui vì sẽ được nếu mà được thi đấu ở LCP năm sau các thứ.
Mình rất là hào hứng khi mà sắp có cơ hội được thi đấu với rất nhiều những đội tuyển mạnh ở những khu vực rất là mạnh.
Bạn cũng đã chuẩn bị cũng như là bạn đã tập được những cái mà về chiến thuật, về cái cách mà em vận hành đội hình khi mà bước vào trận đấu.
Còn em trông chờ thì em rất là mong vào đến hạt nhanh ngày 16, 17, 18 gì đó tháng 1 này.
Hiện tại thì team của mình có 7 thành viên thi đấu chính thức tính cả mình.
Em nói từ trên xuống dưới. Kia thì kiểu ngầu, chỗ dựa vững chắc.
Giống như kiểu khi mà mình gặp khó khăn thì cứ nhìn về Kia thôi thì mọi thứ nó sẽ ổn hơn rất nhiều.
Khi mà em khi mà đi đường với tới lên bên kia thì em rất là để ý và rất là kiểu quan trọng về cái việc đi lên và cũng như là tìm kiếm lợi thế trên lane đó. Thì điều đó chứng tỏ việc em cũng rất muốn solo kill top lane bên họ.
Kiểu đúng là chỗ dựa của team.
Em thấy anh Khánh là một người đội trưởng khá là có tâm và có tầm, bởi vì anh ấy là một người luôn dẫn dắt đội, luôn có những cú call mà khá là hiệu quả và luôn đưa team tới chiến thắng.
Emo thì đi mid. Còn về Emo thì trẻ, nhiệt huyết.
Tuy là ít nói chuyện nhưng mà khi nói chuyện thì mọi người đều hiểu cười á, chỉ vì hay nói xàm xàm á anh.
Ares thì cũng ngầu luôn.
Anh rất là trưởng thành về lối chơi á, kiểu như là anh là một người đi lane hay và kiểu như là anh đưa ra quyết định rất là tốt, và những thứ đó em nghĩ là em sẽ cần học hỏi về ảnh nhiều hơn.
Anh Hưng thì Hưng thì kiểu
em nghĩ anh ấy là một người chơi khá là thú vị, nhưng mà em sẽ không tiết lộ gì nhiều, em sẽ để cho mọi người mong chờ hơn khi mà được xem anh ấy trình diễn ở LCP mùa sau.
Team em nhìn em cũng ngầu quá. Hưng thì ngầu, anh An thì dễ thương.
AC Love chọc cười mọi người khá là nhiều, kiểu là hay làm cho mọi người có cảm giác tích cực hơn anh.
Mặc dù là em đi ở vị trí là xạ thủ á, là một vị trí mà cần được dồn tài nguyên, nhưng mà so với tính cách của em nó tác động vô game nhiều á, nên là em thích hậu cần, nghĩa là hỗ trợ về mọi người nhiều hơn. Và một hỗ trợ là Elio.
Em thì cũng dễ thương. Em đánh giá vậy.
Bởi vì Elio thì mọi người thường đánh giá thấp Elio và bản thân mình thì đánh giá rất là cao Elio, cũng như là mình tin rằng Elio sẽ làm được điều bất ngờ đến cho các bạn fan hâm mộ.
Đối với fan GAM thì anh nghĩ là khi một đội tuyển thành công thì đối với họ là những cái người mà cổ vũ họ, giống như fan GAM Farm á, thì rất là quan trọng đối với GAM.
Thế là khi mà em đang cảm thấy là được nhiều thứ như vậy á, thì em cảm thấy thi đấu nó rất là tự tin á. sẽ cảm thấy là kiểu như mình không có gì đã mất hết, mình có nhiều tài nguyên như vậy thì lý do gì mà mình không chiến thắng những đội tuyển khác.
Và ở LCP sắp tới là một cơ hội để khiến cho các đội Việt Nam có thể chứng minh cho mọi người thấy như vậy.
Hy vọng là mọi người sẽ vững tin vào GAM và mình tin rằng GAM sẽ giành được chức vô địch tại mùa giải năm nay. Cảm ơn các bạn.
Với cái giải LCP thì thật sự rất là mới với mình. Tại trước
And as you can see, we are back. Sorry for the delayed start, but
so, I mean, look, it's just the word of esports. Sometimes there's you got to we're going to work to this schedule, and then suddenly you're like, actually we're ready. Let's just go, and then all of a sudden you're live, and Sion versus Sion in the 1v1 between Taki and Ares.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if this was an honourable agreement. You know, I remember last year in the PCS quite often teams would just honourably agree. I think Yasuo versus Yasuo was brought out a couple times. A little bit more exciting, I must say, than the Sion versus Sion. Be interesting to see. I mean, you can see that Taki going for a more damage-orientated build. Electrocute even.
AD Sion. He's actually winning these trades, which is the crazy thing. Not so much anymore, because obviously Grass procs, and it is also Flash Ignite.
Barrier going to be used. Still, I mean, Taki's going to win this one.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is. He's got the shield.
Oh, he had
and he has flash. He's out.
He had no right to win that one, but he did. I rate it.
He was up mana. He was up mana. I wonder what his runes are. Maybe he has, you know, a hidden mana rune in there. Might even have...
Oh my... No shot.
What is he building? What is he building?
Shield bow, maybe?
Nah. No, it's got to be LDR or something. Surely not shield bow.
The wild world of League of Legends esports. I have seen it all.
Okay. Well, I mean, Sion build to be decided. It looks like a Heartsteel, perhaps, coming through for Ares. A nice little chunk of damage he's getting out there. As Taki will answer back in kind. He's got one crit. Sion's crit animation. Stomping on the minion's head. I mean, definitely losing on the trade at the moment is Taki, but he is up gold. Still, not really showing the current state of things.
Just when I think I've got this game figured out, something like this happens. And yeah, look, Taki is actually just, okay, yeah, the just complete pivot, unstoppable force that we've seen as of late on the Rift.
Yeah. Taki using his. Ares does still have access to his. I mean, current state of the matchup, it does seem like, despite the early kill in favor of Taki, it's a trade wins on repeat for Ares, although not in this one, as the light decimating smash, and he misses out on the ult. Oh my, this might just be over. Ares is laughing. He drops the ignite, and this one is Jova. Never, oh, is it? Yes, he gets the last auto. Never going to get to find out what this Noon Quiver was going to build into.
I have officially seen it all. I'm sorry. In the 1v1s, we've come to expect a certain, you know, style of approach, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we get AD Sion absolutely dominating the mirror matchup.
Yeah, we absolutely do, and with that, that's ultimately going to be now, I believe, it was Taki that one. So it's going to be Team Secret Wales that do get side selection in our second civil war here of the night. And I mean, oh, what a great second to last day. We're getting LJL versus LJL. We're getting VCS versus VCS. I mean, right now, you know, those VCS English fans, they're going to be thriving here. Hopefully in the Twitch chat, getting active. But I mean, what do we expect? boiling it down to what we expect from this matchup, I expect chaos. Team Secret Wales seem to enjoy bringing chaos to these games. GAM a little bit less so in general, but still, you know, do sometimes find themselves in said chaos.
Yeah, I mean, Team Secret Wales has really stood out as a team that loves to just fight at the early game. They are not ones to, you know, wait 6, wait first item, wait first objective. If they see you out of position, they will just, gloves are down, it's time to fight. Who cares? I don't care if there's a standard way of playing the game. I don't care if there's standard tempo to playing the game on Summoner's Rift. If I can fight you, I will fight you, seems to be Team Secret's mantra.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I do agree with you. I think when I look towards both these teams, I think the strong point of both of them tends to be their AD carries. I think Artemis as well as Eddie have had some pretty standout performances. I mean, Eddie in that last series on the Varus in particular was insane. I don't know what other word to use. He was doing an amazing amount of work, and you know, both of these teams were on the back foot going up against DFM and SoftBank respectively. Were able to bring it out, and it was off the back of those AD carries.
I mean, the fact that we've just had a support as well win a 1v1 on AD Sion against the other team's mid laner. But yeah, I think, speaking of those supports, that I think is where I see the difference, especially in the spot lane. While yes, you've got two very, very capable AD carries, Elio has definitely been just a standout support. He really has shone this competition. And while Taki is no slouch, Elio has definitely been a lot showier. He's been making so many more high-impact plays. Whereas Taki's just been doing what supports do and making sure that his AD carry doesn't have too bad a game.
Somewhat, other than he is now receiving permaban Elise. Every single game that Elise is removed from him, so he's freeing up one spot in the draft here in terms of those bans. When he was on the Elise, there's a reason why now it's permabanned against him. It's because he truly showed up and was almost the dominant driving force behind their victory. So if he's allowed to play the Elise, if that does get left open, I expect him to just be almost snapping it up immediately. We haven't really seen an answer to the Elise. We saw the Shen last game. I don't know how much of that was, you know, the Shen outperforming the Elise just as an individual, which it did to me seem somewhat like that. Just maybe a lack of knowledge on the matchup, which, you know, led to Gang losing a lot of his health early. But eventually the Elise shored up, landed those cocoons, and was able to allow SoftBank to ultimately win. I expect to see much the same here if Elisa is left open.
I think the Shen, the goal is obviously to be up in the face of your opponent in lane, whether that's in the top or in, you know, down in that bot lane. And as a result, it means it's a lot harder to land those cocoons on the AD carry, which is your primary target. On top of that, he denies so much damage, just having that zone of just, no, you can't hit me. So it does make it very, very hard for Elise, whose goal is to lock down a single champion, dish out a lot of punishment, because regardless of who you're aiming for, Shen is really just denying all of that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. And I mean, it's very interesting here. I think both these teams, if they win, they will be securing the 4th position. It doesn't mean a whole lot. Obviously, you know, bragging rights and whatnot, and that's always going to feel good. But I think ultimately, how our playoffs work here is that the 2nd and 3rd seed are going to get to select their opponents in the first, or when it comes to their round. And so they're just ultimately going to select who they think is the weaker of the teams. Which, you know, they're not necessarily going to reflect on what the scoreboard look like. They're obviously scrimming against each other. They watch each other play. They might have a preference of style diverse. I mean, you know, GAM typically a little bit more reserved, happy to scale a little bit, whereas the side of Team Secret Wales, in your face, making the game chaos.
So the fun thing is, so there is 2 points separating these two teams. So Secret is up by 2 points. Now, the only time it changes how the head-to-head works is if GAM win 2-1, sorry. So if GAM win 2-1, it actually doesn't come down to the points, it comes down to head-to-head, which they've just won anyway. That's the only where it becomes complicated. Otherwise, it's just, realistically, it is whoever wins, takes 4th, the loser, then ends up in 5th, which, I mean, for the middle of the pack, it's much of a muchness. I don't think they're going to suffer greatly overall, but you've then got a massive decisive matchup for the top 3. Top 3 is still not 100% locked in going into tomorrow. The only one thing that we know for sure is that CFO cannot take first.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we've come down to the last 3 games of the split, and every single game still matters, because if Vikings, I mean, CFO, if they do lose to Chiefs somehow, they will be guaranteed 3rd. I believe they will just almost guarantee.
Actually, in terms of points, if CFO lose 2-0, there is a world where Secret win today and then actually take 3rd.
Oh!
Yeah, because of the point system. So if you win a game, you get a point. You lose a game, you lose a point in the standings. So if Oyster, CFO lose 2 points, they would then be at a +4. Secret, if they win, they'd be at +5.
Oh!
So there is a world in which Chiefs knock CFO out of top 3.
That would be exciting. Less than
unlikely,
likely.
yeah.
Less than likely. Let's be entirely honest with ourselves, but certainly could be exciting if that were to happen. Team Secret Wales winning that 1v1. To no one's surprise, do take the blue side. Corky, Zyra, Skarner banned by them. The other side, Aurora, Callista, and still one ban to come. Most likely, I would predict the Elise, but maybe, just maybe, GAM have figured out something they'd like to take into.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's worth stating, Taki has played Elise once. Only once this split. So while, yes, it was a massive game, it is still only a drop in the bucket comparatively. Nocturne, I think, arguably is a bigger threat on the Rift than Elise in the hands of Taki, and we've already just seen that Shen proves to be a pretty effective counter, so I'm sure that there are other counters that work reasonably well into her as well. She's also just naturally very, very squishy. Eddie has not learned his lesson. Has not learned the lessons of the LCP as a whole, and is going to lock in Varus, which has just been how hard can we brutalize poor Varus on the Rift?
Yeah, look, his last game of Varus was phenomenal, so I have faith in him to be able to get it across the line. It started off rough. Of course, he lost Flash level 1 and was punished thereafter by Courage with repeat ganks. But yeah, look, we're gonna have to find some way to keep this Varus alive. Renata could be an answer.
I think you almost need to guarantee the Renata, because it is just going to give so much more freedom to Eddie down the spot lane. Without it, you're not looking likely to bring a Mikhails down to that bot lane. Galio is not a bad option in terms of the hero's entrance bailout, but what are you looking to pair this Varus with? If you don't pick the Renata in the first phase and it gets banned away, it does prove a little bit problematic.
Yeah, I'm definitely inclined to agree. We'll have a look. Obviously, the Magic Shield's going to be really good for the equalizer that can come on top of this this Varus that Eddie will be piloting, especially when paired with the cease and desist. You're locked up in one spot in the Elise, so they're going to look to be ultra aggressive in lane. They're looking to dominate. They're looking to get so far ahead that it doesn't matter. You're using all these abilities on them.
Yeah, look, I mean, that is one approach. That is one strategy to deny the Rumble. And the setup that GAM are looking for. Yone.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I mean, you've gone for an AP top. It makes sense to bring something AD out in the mid lane. You don't want to double down and just allow the other team to stack magic resist when there's Galio on the board. So, yeah, look, I think this is a pretty solid response. Yone, haven't seen so much of it in the tail. It was very, very present in the first 2 weeks of play, but I mean, look, I don't hate it.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it should do better than the Tryndamere that we did see Ares pick up in his first game up against Talon. That follows up very well.
It was a draft issue, with counter picks, position of the stars. Yeah, look, Tryndamere is fireable. No, that was a rough game. He still did more damage than who was on the Akali the other day. Yeah, Jimmy, and yeah, so it's not the worst showing we've had in the mid lane. Strangely enough.
Yeah, not yet. Zinzao Wukong banned. Obviously, they see the junglers for themselves. They got the Vi, taking away the things that do well against the Vi. That is those two champs we see there. Viego still absolutely an option. Caitlyn, okay, so fight a fire with fire. If the Lux comes in last here, truly looking to, as I said, fight fire with fire. We'll see if that's what they opt into. They could ultimately go for the Nico as well. Much of a muchness between those two, as my colleague here would say.
That's the one. The other one that a friend of mine also likes to use is roasted, toasted, packaged and posted. With a Rumble on the board, we might actually see that happening. Viego comes out for his toe in the jungle. I think there is potential for some really, really solid resets coming in through these team fights. And oh, please no, hero.
And the Ivory Tower, just like that, comes absolutely crushing down. Do you know what to me is exceedingly perplexing about this Jace pick? Is that there is one man from Nuzima that is open and made its way through the entirety of this draft that does survive the Rumble matchup, that does well into dive, and is just going to be completely left off the table here in game number 1.
Well, I mean, look, Elio's not going to pick the Lux. It is going to be a Karma instead.
The look, if you guys could see the look of disappointment on my friend here, on his face, it's a sight to behold.
All I can think of is that one scene from SpongeBob. You know, when are you going to learn your lesson, old man? that is just everyone who plays Jace from here on out this split. You're gonna learn today, buddy.
When was the last time the Jace won? The Jace beat SoftBank. Oh, so it was Team Secret Wales. It was Hero on.
Yeah, so the one time out of like 10 now that it has won post-patch.
I mean, if they're the one team that got it done, I guess they can have some confidence in it. Out of everyone, right?
Like, you like the volcano insurance salesman. Yeah, but remember 60 years ago, that was that volcano. You can't be too safe. 4 years ago, Jace won in the top lane, so it's still good.
We'll see.
Get out of here, Grandpa.
Ultimately, I mean, the Jace, you know, it will survive the lane against the Rumble. It does have the range to pick up the CS and sort of deny these fights that the Rumble likes to look for in the early game. It should be able to keep up in terms of the
they
CS.
lane swap,
Exactly.
which they are going to.
Well, if they do lane swap, Jace probably succeeds more than the Rumble in general in that scenario too. So either scenario is kind of fine for the Jace. I would have still absolutely have preferred to have seen a Cassante. I think this champion has been excelling. It, for my money, has been the strongest top laner we've had, not only on this patch, but the prior patches as well. It's remained untouched. It's still benefiting off the effects of all of those tank items. But unfortunately, it's going to be the Jace. Or maybe fortunately, I mean, it depends how well Hero's able to pilot it. And admittedly, has been pretty good on the champ.
If I'm being honest, I don't know why Team Secret haven't opted into the lane swap. I mean, Eddie is making his way towards mid. Because
They still probably will.
Yeah, I think realistically there is just so much in this draft that allows a dive. I mean, Viego, Elise, Varus are going to do so well diving onto a Rumble who at the early stage doesn't have the damage really to be that much of a threat. Timing, of course, is going to be an issue. But I think realistically, you are better as Team Secret able to exploit a rather immobile top laner like Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how they're able to do. There is, I think in general, the side of
it
Team
is
Secret
lethality
Wales.
Varus too.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, I think that's very good.
We've seen a lot of on-hit in the last couple of days.
I don't think we're going to want to see an on-hit against what is being shown by GAM. You're not going to have uptime. You're not going to be able to auto-attack anyone with any sort of consistency. And so, yeah, going for the lethality here makes a lot of sense. You ultimately do have the damage. You've got the Jace who will be providing some. You've got Elise, which, you know, again, will some. Everyone pretty much has some form of damage profile is what I'm getting to across the ref for Team Secret Wales. And so just having that sort of consistent damage coming out of your AD carry, whereas the lethality is a lot less consistent, being that you are a lot more vulnerable, makes a whole lot of sense to me, ultimately.
And the top mid lane combo. And Kiai is just going to do what he can to zone out Dire. And I mean, those Electro Harpers do a decent amount of damage, even at level 1. So it is going to be enough to zone Dire off for the moment. He's going to try and pick up what he can, which, to be fair, Galio is not the worst when it comes to finding farm. So I think, yeah, Kiai is going to work his way down to the bot side. They will ultimately lane swap, but it does give Eddie and Taki a lot of free time to wail on this tower.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, ultimately, the Galio's not going to care that much, which is a fortunate scenario to be in if you are a Team Secret Wales supporter. But it should stay relatively even, all things considered. They are looking for a dive, however, onto this Jace, and the members are stacking up. Importantly, however, there isn't going to be Levi on the Vi. Hero trying to get as much XP as he can. He flashes away. There's not really any lockdown. Elio getting very low. Kiaya getting even lower.
Oh, yeah.
And he gets the kill back. A lot of damage also done. That's a massive turnout for Hero in the top lane. Kiaya being a bit greedy with his flash is going to cost him.
And he's already got that tier, so he's going to be able to start stacking it up. I think that it goes about as well as it could have.
Yep, I mean, Jace just the best top laner in the game. The look of absolute despising me right there.
Kill, I would be solo casting the rest of the series. But yeah, I mean, Hero, we've been critical of him in the past. I mean, the Team Secret have subbed him out for Stellar a couple of times over the last couple of play days. But yeah, look, he played that as well as he could have, bar backing right off, but then he wouldn't have got the kill as a result. So, I mean, bit of gold in his pocket. He's going to be able to start stacking up that tier as we do see the lanes flip once again. Hero has teleported down to the bot side. Unfortunately, his bot lane duo was already beelining towards the bot side, so he's just got to recall, head back up with the few minions that he did get, and look to try and give Eddie the space that they want for him.
Oh, the life of a top laner here in 2025 is, you know, just as miserable as it's always been, unfortunately. Yeah, you hit like a whole season there at one point. I think Season 13, where there weren't any lane swaps. Life was pretty good up there. You're able to kind of pick whatever you want. If you want to be a carry, you were allowed to. These days, not the same, unfortunately. But, you know, that is what it is. The other top laner is going to be suffering just as much.
No, please. You've just tried this once. It has not ended well.
Yeah, they don't really have the lockdown. They, ultimately, I mean, yeah, it should be easier.
The wonder, yeah, no flash this time.
Yeah.
But no ignite either, so if they don't get the initial burst of damage off, they're really in trouble. Or Elio, no.
Be able to look for it.
No.
Nice try, he gets one! He absolutely gets one! And it's going to be on the opposite side of the map as well, where Team Secret Wales succeed. And Hero, who probably should be sitting there 0-2, claims himself yet another victim, and it's feeling absolutely great.
Oh my, no, please stop encouraging Jace top. This is only going to help its case and it doesn't need it. But I have to say, it's good to see Hero finding what little he can, given he is being pressured so hard.
I mean, it's a lot more than Kai has been able to find. CS, yes, it remains fairly even, and you know, XP being in favor of Hero, 2 kills, so gold in favor of him too. You've got to be happy if you are this Jace in the current stage of things. While yes, of course, you wish you weren't being dove on repeat. It's a whole lot better you're picking up the kills than you're not.
And once again, he's headed top and then had to immediately back so his AD carry can pick up the top lane. Oh, it is a rough life. The guy is just doing absolute bits right now while under the pump, and he's still coming out on the weaker side because obviously priority is given to Eddie. I mean, in saying that, I think he does very, very well at the moment given how accelerated he is. Elio, very, very deep, but only level 3.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Void Grub does go over to GAM, but the other 2 should be picked up here by Team Secret Wales. I mean, look, if there were ever a region to provide us a ruinous Arakan, it would have to be the Vietnamese players. These guys love a brawl, and so far they are doing that.
I mean, you say that, but I'm pretty sure we've got up to, what, 11 kills? Post 14 minutes, and still that wasn't enough for Ruinous. So I have to say, Levi though pivots that down into this Mountain Drake pretty cleanly. Is not going to be spotted, and it's not the strong side for them. Oh boy.
Team Secret Wales looking for a dive here. There is going to be the Galio ult coming through. Artemis flashing away. The 90 caliber net not going to find what it needs to, and that is going to be 1 kill taken out. It is traded back, however, as ultimately Taki will be taken out. But now Elio under the pump, and he doesn't have the flash, but he does have the barrier. And it's the arrows coming down that seal the deal. Team Secret Wales now do claim themselves a lead.
By that much. That close. It almost was disastrous, but yeah, look, you only lose so much, and oh no, Hero, please no. Hero, please no.
Hero under the pump again. Unfortunately, this time for him, he is taken down, but GAM, they see the disaster that was the top side dive and do answer the back one for themselves. As now, once again, the lanes will swap.
Yeah, look, I think Taki was always really in a position where he was going to go down. I think Elio, target prioritization was brilliant there. Knew for a fact the Ignite was up and was just able to finish it off. He's ultimately going to die, so you make the most of what you can get. The big thing being Eddie surviving here, courtesy of the barrier, steps back in, finishes off the kill. So a huge gold injection, especially into the pockets of Eddie on this lethality Varus. So gold is going to be important for him.
Yeah, I mean, Artemis doing very well himself, obviously picking up a bunch of tower plates because they have been the first to opt into these lane swaps. Means they have had priority. They've had the time to be able to hit against the minion waves, but Kiaya now being looked at and absolutely demolished. And this top lane Jace is just completely uncontested.
It is of course a new Lunia, so I'm going to be more positive going ahead. I think that the players of the LCP definitely deserve that. And Hero can be nothing but commended for trying to brute force a champion, which realistically should not be in the comp anymore, and in finding success on it. So it's good to see that, look, you can find success regardless of where you are. Was that positive?
Yeah.
Enough, you think?
Yeah, that was great. I think you're doing a great job. You're really a changed man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This red buff will be going down, but Team Secret Wales do want to contest. Smite available for Levi, but he's not even going to smite it. I wonder if he just forgot to. And, I mean, this top Jace is just menacing, although Kaya turned around a lot of damage. Just quietly between you and I, gets the equalizer off to try and mount away the minion wave, pick himself up some golden XP
I
on the way out.
genuinely, for a moment, thought that was an accidental replay, just because it was the exact same thing happening again. But yeah, look, all of a sudden, Jace is now 3-3-1. Yeah, Viego is 2-0-3. So every lane but the support is now winning for Team Secret, which, I mean, we did say this is a team that loves to fight in the early game. If they see an opportunity to fight, they're going to fight, and even when they shouldn't, they still find something.
Yeah, look, I think ultimately the word to describe Jace in its current form is just cerebral. It's just, you know, finding everything it needs to, managing to play around these dives. It's been dove three times.
No, Hero should go and buy a lotto ticket after this game because he should not be in the position that he's in, but he is. So you cannot fault him for making the most of a bad situation.
No, he's done very, very well. Ultimately now up 1k gold on his counterpart. 042 currently does Kaya sit.
To be fair, there is an element of mental doom that could creep into GAM now after failing to tower dive Hero twice and then seeing him just go absolutely ballistic on what is a huge part of your team comp.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of what the team comp relies on. I mean, there's a lot of damage. Let's be entirely honest. Every single champion that GAM has picked does damage. So, yes, okay, right now, Kaya will be lacking a little bit in comparison to where you'd hope this Rumble was. You've still got the Yone, you've got the
You
Ryan.
have the same number of kills as a team as Kaya has deaths right now. So, yeah, I think... Oh, dear.
Oh, I've seen this one before. They're going to go down the cancel. Oh, that is so important, the redive. I mean, Levi is going to be taken out eventually, or is he? Maybe not. I mean, perfect performance from him, and ultimately is Dyer just turning that on its head. Ares finds wherever Dyer was, looking for that hero's entrance, cancels it out. GAM get the redive. This time, it's a huge success, and maybe finding their way back into this, because from my screen, that looked like it was going to be another complete disaster.
Yeah, look, complacency a little bit there, I think, for Team Secret. Dyer just thought he was a lot safer than he was and committing to that play. And, oh, yeah, look, there's no real kill threat there, unfortunately. Without Hero's entrance, there was no follow-up. Hizdo just sit and wait and watch and creep it.
Cancel that recall, though.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, look, for at least GAM, that is much needed. Yeah, okay, so, oh, yeah, that was very rough.
And then the ult's still available for Levi. He gets in, gets the shield, gets the flash away, and Taki with no real direction here tries his best to find something, but Levi able to use those, what are they called? Something blows, anyway. Concussion blows.
No, it's, I think it's crushing blows, but it's, I could be wrong.
Anyway, he uses his E, hits the minion, which then does manage to claim the life of Taki. Still, game in a reasonably good position, all things said and done for Team Secret Wales. They are still ahead. They do collect themselves their first dragon.
There you go, we were both wrong. She hits real hard, like what do you need to know? But yeah, I think that is a breath of fresh air for GAM, who have really just struggled to find success. Elio, though, is caught. No, yeah, just not enough. There's not enough kill threat.
Yeah, Ultra is speedy on the Karma, and no one really in range to be able to punish, so is just able to walk away there. If, you know, Hizdo was slightly closer, possibly losing his flash there, but, you know, no harm, no foul.
Fire is also 4-0 right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Levi has a considerable amount of their gold, which definitely is not the champion wanted on. Vi quickly finds herself scaling out of the game. Very quickly becomes a I press ult on someone and die, but you guys get to fight.
Or do they know that Hizdo's here? They have no clue.
Yeah, I think wisely not going for this dive, although massive chunk, and maybe they still look for it. Hizdo's still waiting in the wings. Elio coming down. Aha! This is the plan. We dive Kaya.
Again.
Definitely not having the same success. Equalizer comes out. Finding a lot of damage. Taki will have Repel available to himself. And Rumble's health bar disintegrated. Dyer doing a good job to clear out this minion wave. Going to be, ultimately, I think this first tower is just a surefire thing. However, as it's going to be GAM who do pick that one up for themselves. Still, this is going to come down to monster slaying at the end of the day, as the tower will be claimed by GAM. It was warfare for Team Secret Wales, and one objective would secure the feats of strength for Team Secret Wales.
Yeah. Oh, Artemis, you're well forward there. Oh, Artemis, you have no idea what is coming your way.
There is a golem in the bush. 90 caliber net used. Not going to find its mark, unfortunately. The taunt comes out. It's going to deny a lot of damage.
Oh,
but Hero's entrance going to be used to ensure his safety, and all things said and done, it does. Now, teleport coming through here for Kaya. Hero first to the play, though, as Artemis is going to have to flash away. He does have that lethal tempo stacked up, and there is no equalizer here, so this Rumble's combat pressure is not as much as you'd perhaps want it. But Artemis playing his range perfectly. In will come his toe, though. That's a reset if he wants it. Eddie trying to escape, and eventually it's going to be everyone found. Taki not going to fall prey to the ace in the hole. And Team Secret Wales feeling like they're playing with their food, but ultimately do get all they wanted out of that bot lane play. Ty gets the recall off, able to come and protect this top lane tower as well.
Taki hitting the Kobe from downrange. She's yeah, you're dead. Whatever, who cares? Oh dear. Oh, yeah, okay, so Levi was well out of position there, getting a bit greedy.
I didn't even notice this happened, so yeah, they just killed Levi as well. Got out and killed bot lane.
I did say, I noticed him on the map. I thought he'd just left, and then, yeah, coming in.
He did.
Yeah, that's rough. That's very, I suppose he did leave, but not of his own volition.
His toe does go down first, but, you know, with, not his toe.
Hero,
yeah, does go down first, but his toe gets in here and turns this fight quickly on its head. Ace in the hole, not going to be the damage he needed.
Cool guys don't look at explosions.
That's right.
Oh, okay, fighting.
Oh, brawl, keep fighting. Okay, Levi is completely out of position. It's going to go down. Eddie gets a slow off onto Artemis. Not going to be able to find another kill. Oh, did those kills happen before 14 minutes? I don't think they did. No!
I think we are voracious, unfortunately. There's potentially another 2 games in the series. But that will be the Noxian blessings going the way of Team Secret, and Hubris is a powerful force on the Rift. Yeah, look, we talk about rough performances in the LCP. 0-6 as a Rumble has to be about as rough as it gets.
Look, 0-9-0 on is still holding that crown right now, but definitely a toughie for sure. I mean, Levi just getting dragged into no man's land, unfortunately, and you know, as happens in no man's land, you blow up.
It's funny to me that RS is Yone and has had 0 kill participation. The one thing he did was, you know, stop the hero's entrance down to the bot lane to save Taki and Hero. But look, he's farming. He's actually got a lead, just purely off the minion difference.
Yeah, which is good and all. They are 4k gold down, unfortunately, is the problem they're facing. You know, a lot of it, admittedly, between the support and the Jace, which typically you're like, okay, that doesn't matter all that much, but when it's an elite support, you actually can find yourself, if you are a carry, being blown up kind of unreasonably quick. Dire, though, is going to have to concede this tower. It will be for the Dragon and most likely the bottom tower as well. So Team Secret Wales, they're going to feel completely fine about this, and Dire is wisely going to play his life back on out, allow this one to go over.
Yeah, no, my big problem at the moment is we just can't, you can't find his two anywhere. He's, you know, just page not found for some reason. He's wayward. But no, they down in the bot side, pop the Rift Herald, crack this in it, and they are going to back themselves off, having a huge amount of... Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. The classic Varus treatment as Levi. Oh, the Chain of Corruption going wide is a big, big deal, Eddie. He is finding the damage, and he will go down to the pulled over Peacemaker. You know, Taki will all but secure his kill. Oh, he does just get it. Levi's going to go down as well. There's your 80 carries down for both sides of the Rift. Keep an eye on his toe. Hero going aggressively. Kaya not offering all that much in terms of that damage against what is the most maniacal top lane champion we have in the comp. This Jace.
Kahunte? Yeah, look, I'm just in shambles right now, but just, they committed so much to keep Artemis alive there. It's going to be, yeah, they not only did they commit unbelievably heavily onto Eddie here, they just so deep. Yeah, Levi, cease and desist from downtown, hits the smite as well. The ace in the hole. Look, yeah, the Chains of Corruption, just an absolute whiff. Artemis, though, in the wings, gets hit by Taki. You see RS trying to find something. and then unfortunately hits it a second after the leap. So his AD carry still goes down. He will get himself a kill though, so he is finally on the board in terms of kill participation.
He has a shutdown. That feels so illegal.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he is 50 CS ahead.
Yeah, but the team is 4K down.
Much of a muchness. But at this stage in the game, Team Secret are comfortable. Now, they have lost from this point before. It was against Team Talon, so a pretty drastically different matchup.
Yeah.
But hey, look, if they've done it once, they can do it again.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, GAM, definitely a very strong team. But it feels like just not able to keep up the pace of the map, really. Yes, you know, RS is consistently on these side lanes. He's got priority over them, but not really able to find anything off the back of that priority, which is the problem. The second dragon was secured for Team Secret Wales earlier. The next one spawning in 2.5 minutes. The Cloud Soul, again, an extremely punishing soul, especially when you are already falling behind the map. Oh my lord, Artemis doesn't even really get hit by any skill shots and is just taken out. There we have Dire behind him. Hero's going to be on him. Yes, Artemis is surviving, but not for all that much longer, as both the bot laners for the side of GAM will be taken out. And it's not going to be long until Levi, the captain, is going to meet the same fate. Yes, he's brawling. Yes, he's absolutely doing his damnedest. And surviving for a damn long time, in fact, but will eventually be taken down.
There is such a wet noodle fight. Just, hit me, hit me, hit me. I'll hit you. My turn, your turn. Just standing there man tanking. There's nothing wrong with a bit of man tanking, honestly, but it is going to set up the Artican pretty freely.
I cannot believe this is a voracious Artican.
I can't believe that Eddie and Taki were like, yeah, no, we will just go and fight by ourselves, and then somehow Team Secret was still able to bail them out there.
Just, what do we need to do to get a voracious on the map? Because these two teams did their damnedest to make that happen.
Yeah, so I mean, look at how aggressive this positioning was. They're like, yeah, no, let's go. Look, Artemis is about to die. This is the freest kill I've ever had. And then he misses the piercing arrow, has to use Chains of Corruptions just to get this Yone away from them. RS has to defensively ult away.
Yeah, and this takes a little long, obviously. Bit of shielding from Vi, got the healing from Conqueror, got the healing from the Sundered Sky. Does eventually go down, however. And the voracious Artican picked up. Team Secret Wales in a commanding position to now try and close out this game. It might take the Baron, of course, but this voracious should at least lead to an objective. The Baron won't be that objective, as it's not going to be spawning in time. A little bit of a chunk coming through from Ares, but an even bigger chunk. Oh my god! One cocoon is all it takes to just eliminate this Vi, who, by the way, does have a reasonable amount of HP between the Black Cleaver, the Ruby Crystal that he did have, and the Sundered Sky, but unfortunately, not going to be enough. The equalizer, however, will be to clear out that minion wave.
Like, all I can imagine the Levi's thinking in that situation is like, there's no way they're just going to follow up on this, and then immediately he dies. It's like, oh, okay, no, they will. Look, I was wrong. I'll admit that, but I mean, you've got the Voracious Artican. What more are you going to do in that situation? It allows you to die essentially for free. Yeah, look, you lose, well, you give over 200 gold. You're not even losing money in that situation, other than 15 seconds. So just make a play, and they did.
Yeah, sure did. Midwave going to be cleared out by Ares. Very safe on the Yone.
70 gold lead, 70 CS lead now for Ares.
Yeah, look, I think out of any champion on the side of Team Secret Wales, the one that does not care at all about being at a CS deficit is exactly Galio. Maybe Elise as well, you could make the argument, I think.
I mean, he's got 5 kills. Like, CS is not an issue whatsoever. The guy is just, he's 2k of gold.
Yeah, making his way to a second item at 22 minutes or 23 minutes as a support is not a position you find yourself in all that often, if ever, especially in, stage games.
Again, back in the old days where your second item was just another gold per 5. It's a drastically different time, but yeah, look, you've got Viego, who's 4-0-7. You've got the Galio, who's 3-0-2. Your AD carry's died once, but picked up 9 assists and is out farming his lane opponent. So everything that really could be going well is going well, not to mention the fact that even though your Jace has died 5 times, he's picked up 5 kills and 7 assists. He's got his Black Cleaver, he's got his Fimbulwinter. So those 2 dives really did not set him back whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, essentially just because of how poorly they went, they've actually put him ahead, which is the sad part, because on the other side of the map, yes, you were diving the Jace. He was picking up a kill. The other side of things, Kaya was getting dove and not picking up a kill, which, bodes well for the state of the game, and it's kind of how we found ourselves in the position we are in.
Yeah,
also, one of the dives you found on Jace, you were close to losing 3 members, if not for hero play out Ares. So, just unfortunately, it's the speed around the map. It's the micro play that's happening. That Team Secret Wales are just seemingly leaps and bounds ahead of GAM, at least here in the first game of the series. Of course, you know, even if the expected outcome does occur and Team Secret Wales taking this one, there is still GAM able to fight back in that second and potentially third match.
I mean, look, even realistically, given the comp that GAM has, if they do land their key abilities on top of the entirety of Team Secret, they pretty much just wipe through them. Because Artemis can be allowed to sit in the back line while the Equalizer is just burning away at them. But, I mean, realistically, for this game, for GAM, anything that could go wrong really did go wrong. And, I mean, a great Australian, Kevin Wilson, did write a song about that. Unfortunately, this is the situation they find themselves in. But it is not over yet.
Yeah. It does feel over in many ways, I will say. 5K, not an insurmountable gold lead by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just how the teams interact. Ultimately, GAM have a team comp that want to go forward, they want to look for a target, isolate them, take them out, whereas Team Secret Wales, they love playing back. You can play into the Galio, the Varus from far, that, you know, you're walking into cocoons, Histo with the snare as well. It feels very difficult to ultimately play forward into the team comp that Team Secret Wales is showing, even more so when you're at the deficit you're finding yourself in.
Yeah, I mean, the one concern is that Team Secret have been...
Do not say Jace.
No, Team Secret have been in this position before, and then ultimately it didn't matter against Talon. Two different teams, very much so, but...
And very different team comps, right?
Yeah,
that game
absolutely.
had a Victor and a Jin who can play from afar, and, you know, while you are very far behind, you can try and navigate around the team fights where you aren't having to be all that interactive, whereas for GAM to find any play in these fights, and honestly, if they want to find an angle in the game, it almost feels like it has to be off the back of a massive engage that comes, you know, a 5-man Fate Seal, or 4-man Fate Sealed maybe with the Equalizer on top of it, and then yes, okay, you will likely win that team fight. It's just Team Secret Wales, they're not giving that opportunity over. In fact, they are often the ones that are finding the fight themselves through the cocoon, through Histo. I mean, we're looking at here, this red buff being contested between both the teams, and it's just GAM having to concede yet another one of these objectives. Levi does use the Vault Breaker aggressively. On the bottom side of things, Ace in the Hole coming out. Ara's going aggressive on that Yone. Will not be able to find anything, at least for the time being. At least ultimates do remain up across the rift. Chain of Corruption was used, as well as the Ace in the Hole. Not the most impactful. Obviously, the Varus is a little bit more so than the Caitlyn.
Oh, I mean, far from the be-all, end-all. More of anything, it's just used at this stage to chain, ironically enough, onto the CC that's already been established, or defensively to just make sure that Edie gets out of dodge. Realistically, you're looking to play off the back of Viego going in, Taki going in, and then their hero's entrance to follow up.
Yeah, look, they had the Voracious. They didn't actually achieve anything with it. So GAM doing a great job at slowing down the pace of the game, making sure Team Secret Wales don't just explode this one open in one fell swoop, and we'll be able to play on a more level playing field now.
30 seconds, though, to that Cloud Soul being an option for Team Secret. And like you said, one of the highest win rates in Drake Souls on the Rift at the moment in the current state of the game. And you can see GAM need to get that vision. They need to threaten it. Realistically, for Team Secret, it's not the end of the world if that Drake is taken away from them, but it certainly accelerates what is already an accelerated game.
Yeah, I mean, the problem they find themselves in with the Varus is they can't realistically take the Baron. They don't have any damage to actually take that objective down, and so Dragon is really the only realistic objective on the map for them. Hero is going to be able to tank up these Yordle Snapchat just fine as Kaya being looked at. The flash from Taki isn't going to connect, but we found an engage. It's onto Dyer, who is feeling completely fine. His toe is going to come down for the smite fight, and it's going to be Levi so steady with his hands there, able to secure himself the Dragon. That is the Soul. Hero's found a way onto the back. Kaya going to get locked up, but the Equalizer is fantastic. His toe just trying to look for any form of reset. Health bar's now getting low. The cocoon lands. That should be yet another death. The 7th of the game here for his toe. And how will it be played? It's going to be Ares coming in. It's a nice Fate Seal, but there's just no damage. Absolute annihilation. And the greatest top lane champ on the patch, Jace, running rings around the bot lane of GAM.
I mean, Team Secret just had the stronger team fight, honestly. As soon as the equalizer didn't connect, it was a great fade seal, but you need to synergize that with the equalizer. That is where the vast majority of the damage is going to come out. And off the back of that, I mean, Team Secret can end here. There's just no two ways about it. They have what they need. They've got the minion wave. There's 12 seconds before Kiaya comes up, but there's no equalizer, so they're not going to be able to burn the minion waves quick enough. Surprising that Dire is backing off. Yeah, okay, so he heads back to base, picks up an item, teleports straight back in. But yeah, Team Secret will get this done pre-30 minutes, despite look, a couple of situations where it looked like GAM might have bounced back.
Yeah, absolutely. There it is. Team Secret Wales, clinical, really, in this game. It was ultimately, yes, you have to say, off the back of quite a number of botched dives. Even the one that did ultimately succeed, they paid for it on top side. Team Secret Wales, way more capable, I guess, of pulling off those dives. They have the Elise. Of course, the Elise goes in, and oh my god, this tower shot's gonna kill me, and then you're up in the air, it doesn't hit her, and all aggro is reset, and you're feeling pretty good.
I find it also very funny. So Taki Pixelise has a stunning game. It is then systematically banned away from him, and then he gets it again, and he has another stunning game. So, look, it's seeming like it is just such a powerful tool in his arsenal, and that support. No way Jace does the most damage on that team. That is criminal.
What? It's the best. It's
no,
the best
it's
champ
not.
on the patch.
Shush.
That's why we see it picked over Cassandre so.
Yeah. No, I think it's just copium, and these top laners can't let go of what was tank Jace.
Look at it. Look at the stats it's just put out. Look at the numbers. Read them and weep.
Look, Hero has his moment. We'll give it to him. Unfortunately for him, he can't pick the Jace again. And I think even if he did, he likely wouldn't find the same level of success. But it does mean that Cassandre being an option going into our next game.
That champ's banned from here on out. There's no way. Like the only answer we've seen people like, oh, Cassandre will play Jace. Jace is gone now, so I think this is just going to be a staple of the bans. Yeah. Seemingly, for whatever reason, despite the falling flat of the Jace into the Cassandre, we still pick it. Now that it's gone, I imagine we cannot be seeing a Cassandre.
Well, I mean, there's still so many strong picks that are now open. I mean, Udyr is going to be there, and Bess is going to be there with Rumble out. Udyr has a much more comfortable time, I think. Yeah. There isn't really a direct answer to him. So in the top lane, yeah, this blows the game wide open. And look, it could be an avenue for Kiai to come back in because he was just outright bullied off the rip there.
Yeah, I think final score 0-7-3 or something along the lines of that. Not really to his fault. You know, he's playing on the weak side and getting dove, and unfortunately his dives are just a lot better executed than his team on the opposite side. I mean, here's an example. This time it was, you know, for Kiaya's good fortune, not him being on the better end or the worse end, I suppose, as you know, the dive comes. This one, I mean, again, it's another dive onto Hero that, by the way, would have gone horrendously if the Galio managed to get in. Almost certainly would have been at least two of them going down, but you know, good job by RS to stop that play and able to also find a lot of damage. I mean, again here, you've looked for a play, you've used your turn, Levi staying way too long, it's taken out, and yeah, being in the general area does allow for that Galio to escape. And just, I mean, Artemis played out of his mind in this passage of play, but it just doesn't matter.
I mean, to be fair, he had a pretty solid game all round, but in the face of what is just a monster team coming out of this Team Secret draft, it was very good in all aspects. And yeah, I mean, Taki was such an instrumental factor. And I mean, you look at it, just indicative of how rough this game was for GAM, how much they have to commit onto Eddie, and what ultimately then results off the back of it. They get the kill, and then suddenly Team Secret collapse, and Artemis dies anyway, so it is now a 1-for-1 trade, 2-for-1 trade. They then find more down on the bot side. They go for another play here. Eddie and Taki were just given so much more just freedom than they should have been in that game because of how far ahead they were.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a funny moment. Levi and Histo, these brawling junglers, just battling it out. Not even sure who would have won that, but ultimately because Hero's there, it's a pretty clear cut. I believe the last fight of the game, Dragon was secured from Levi, so, you know, he can now happily say he did outsmite the enemy jungle, so a bit of a jungle gap there. But just, the damage has already been done. They're so far behind. The wallet gap is insurmountable at this point. I think Wise sort of navigating of the aggro here as his toe was very strong as Viego, but found himself quite weak when he turned into a 0-7 rumble. So just dipping back out, making sure he doesn't go down, eventually comes back in and picks himself up a double end off the back. And with that,
the wild thing is, if those early dives don't go the way where Hero picks up those kills, I think that's drastically different game.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think obviously, right, you wouldn't have had the Jace as powerful as he was and ultimately just so much more powerful than the Rumble. But game number 1 is all done and dusted. It's Team Secret Wales now who do lead the series and looking to claim themselves 4th place. When we're back, we'll see if GAM can fight back, take us to a game number 3.
Welcome to Noxus 1v1, where we have your favorite LEC players go up against each other, where first skill, first turret, or first 100 CS wins. Today, we have M. Koisupa and G2 Hansama going up against each other, playing only 1 out of 18 Noxus gems, which they get to choose by spinning the wheel. So let's find out who wins.
So let's see what we get. I hope we get a funny champion, not Rel, not Vladimir or something like that. Oh, we got Ambessa.
Ambessa?
I think it's
okay.
fine. I think it's fine. It's almost Vladimir, was so close. What?
I missed this.
I lose my Q as well.
What? Oh yeah, actually if you miss, yeah, you miss.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Oh shit. I forgot. Oh my god, I missed it.
Okay. Oh. Oh.
Guys.
I don't know what I'm doing, no joke. But this champion looks so fun.
No!
But what is the damage?
Actually, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
This champion is weird.
I played into Ambessa in lane swap, and sometimes he can 1v2, it's crazy.
Yes, he can. Em cảm thấy rất là hãnh diện và tự hào khi mình là một trong những người Việt Nam có cơ hội cọ xát ở giải đấu LCP lần này. Đây là một cơ hội tốt để em gặp những tuyển thủ giỏi ở những khu vực lớn.
Đối với em tân binh mới đánh giải như em thì em nghĩ cũng hơi áp lực. Nhưng mà em vẫn sẽ tự tin để đánh giải LCP lần này.
Ý nghĩa với em là cái giải đấu lần này chắc là coi như là lần đầu tiên em đánh ở quốc tế đi. Tại vì nó cũng lớn rồi, nên là cái tham vọng của em là sắp tới là rất là cao. Tham vọng chỉ có tham vọng thi đấu với tham vọng thành tích các thứ này nọ hơn.
Hiện tại team em đang có 7 thành viên và anh Taki là đội trưởng.
Và trong game thì Taki cũng làm rất là tốt vai trò đội trưởng của mình khi mà dẫn dắt được những người trẻ hơn mình làm tốt vai trò đó.
Cá nhân em thấy một điểm khá là riêng biệt là em có thể tự tin đánh với bất kỳ mọi AD nào và em cũng có thể tạo ra được sự tự tin cho mọi người với cái vị trí của mình.
SD thì là khác với Taki một xíu.
Thì em cảm thấy anh ấy rất là trầm tính, ít nói và cũng rất là hòa đồng luôn.
Em nghĩ là lần chơi lại này thử thách lớn nhất là bản thân em. Còn những đội khác thì em nghĩ là em với mọi người có thể làm được, là lo chính bản thân mình đợi trước là được, không quan ngại những đội khác. Tại vì vừa rồi em nghỉ một thời gian ấy nên là em hơi dè chừng một xíu về bản thân em.
Còn người đi rừng, mình có tới 2 người đi rừng thì mình sẽ nói Hito trước.
Em nghĩ là em cần thay đổi nhiều thứ hơn, kiểu nói nhiều hơn cho đồng đội mình hiểu mình hơn.
Còn người đi rừng còn lại là Gcom.
Thì anh ấy lúc nào cũng là cười vui vui, nói tạo không khí.
Thì em nghĩ là với em là người chơi trẻ nên là em nghĩ em có kỹ năng để em đọ với các bạn đó.
Mình cũng có 2 người chơi đường trên. Thì một bạn là Hero 02. Thì bạn ấy cũng đã thi đấu ở VSET cũng khá là lâu rồi, cũng là một người chơi về dạng có kinh nghiệm rồi.
Khi mình đối đầu gặp gỡ với những tuyển thủ mạnh như vậy thì nó làm mình có ý chí phải cố gắng nhiều hơn để có thể đối đầu với những đối thủ đó.
Còn bạn còn lại là một bạn nhân tố trẻ mà Spirit Wales vừa mới tuyển về.
Bản thân em đã chuẩn bị cùng với đội rất là nhiều thứ, từ luyện tập rồi đến giờ giấc sinh hoạt, rồi các chiến thuật thi đấu các thứ như nào. Em đã rất là cố gắng để có thể thích nghi với giải đấu lần này.
DMX thì cũng là một tân binh của từng thi đấu tại...
Dạ, em nghĩ em chuẩn bị tinh thần thật tốt khi đánh giải LCP lần này.
Team Wales trẻ, đó chính là Daire. Em nghĩ nó không có gì quá là đặc biệt, chỉ là có những tuyển thủ trẻ lần đầu được thi đấu một giải đấu lớn với niềm khao khát được chứng minh bản thân mình. Thì em nghĩ phong cách chơi của đội em tại giải sắp tới khá là thú vị.
Chắc chắn khả năng cao Spirit Wales sẽ đánh theo kiểu hỗn chiến.
Vì đội của mình trái mà nên áp lực là đương nhiên là có, nhưng mà bọn em sẽ cố gắng để thích nghi.
Em nghĩ đội em đánh khá là hay, nếu mà cố gắng thì thành quả nó sẽ gặt được thôi.
Em mong chờ em và cả đội cùng nhau vô địch giải LCP lần này.
These fists ain't just for show. Come on. Who's next? This is the coil before the strike. Let's settle the score. You'll want to get a close-up of this. Like the ivory serpent, I don't back down when it comes to family. You pick a fight with them, you pick a fight with me. Hometown hero coming through. Mom's fought for me since I was born. It's my turn now.
An absolute heater of a day we've had so far. I mean, very back and forth in our first series. This one, a clinical win, really, from Team Secret Wales. So
I mean, look, let's you know, let's cut the nonsense. Let's call a spade a spade. The Jace was viable. Okay, I'll give it to you. It was viable, and I think it is going to be much like the Azir. In the right hands, it is going to be a good pick. Hero played that about as well as he could have given the situation. But I would be lying if I said I wasn't glad we're doing Fearless Draft.
Not a fan. I wouldn't want to see it again.
I think it is one of those picks that is going to be too situational to be viable going into the later stages of this 2025 competitive season.
Well,
I could also be wrong. They might change him again. Who knows?
Yeah, bans coming through now. I mean, the power picks being banned. You've gotten rid of the Vi, the Viego. So Scarlet
Also,
Wukong.
we didn't touch on it. Sub coming in. Artemis out,
yes.
Easy Love in.
Yes, Easy Love in. So Easy Love is a player that has always been one of the best AD carries over in the VCS. Now coming in, he played at Worlds. He is a very, very, very good AD carry. You see that? I mean, he's in the leather jacket. He's in the leather jacket. I mean, truly coming in for a heater for himself.
It again is one of my greatest frustrations. That being in New Zealand, it can be a hard time getting team merch over here because Asia Pacific has had some of the coolest merch in esports that I have ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to agree. Getting like a bomber jacket or a leather jacket would be pretty sick. I mean, I'm not a man that often wears a leather jacket. I think like it just doesn't really suit me that well, but
I would say that a mounted GAM leather jacket
Yes.
with player signatures on it would be pretty cool.
yes, no, that is absolutely true. So Kasane doesn't get banned, and two, I think no one's real surprise is locked in immediately. Camille, is it gonna be the answer? It does well into the Kasante, but the Aurora being open, yeah, I mean, more likely to see it. And Dyer has been spamming games with the Aurora.
Yeah, I think you want to enable Dire a little bit more than you do Hero at this stage. And looks for Kiai, I think Cassante is the perfect pick, especially bouncing back after what was an incredibly rough game for him. You want to put him on something where he can really succeed. Levi is going to have that Lee Sin available to him. Surprisingly, if he does lock it in here, this will be his first Lee Sin. He's made it through the majority of the split without having picked it up just yet. So would be yet another jungler in the pocket. He's played the Lilia as well, so he's going to lock it in. Another new jungler for Levi coming into what will be their final play day as well. A bit late than ever, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. The Orianna now coming out for Ares should do reasonably okay into the Aurora, all things.
His first Orianna pick as well. He's played Renekton, Tryndamere before he's played Orianna.
There you go. And,
no Hero. It's not going to be, don't do this to me.
The Ambessa.
Although, to be fair, after he picked Jace and then made it look as good as he did, and then picking an Alawi, now that would be a wild ride. But yeah, Ambessa is just too strong in terms of punishing these AD carries. And Easy Love coming in for this game, it just got a whole lot tougher.
His first game,
yeah.
too. His first game here in the LCP. I mean, it's exciting to see him what could be the last showing from GAM here in the regular season. Obviously, they are guaranteed to be in the playoffs, either 5th or 4th. We'll see, no, Team Secret Wales is the only team that could possibly get 3rd, right? That was the situation?
So it would still require Chiefs to take it out. So unless CFO are coming into the final play day, just not turning on their monitors, not plugging in their mice and keyboards, saying that, oh, we've made playoffs, who cares? I think the reality is that Team Secret will, off the back of this win, if they do win here, be finishing 4th. But I think realistically, they don't really suffer as much, anguish wherever they finish in the playoffs at this stage.
Yeah, for sure. Poppy being banned now. Ash was also targeted. A lot of AD carries being removed from the pool. What's one more?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of targets towards sort of those 2nd string, 3rd string. Okay, there we go. Misfortune was being allowed through, but this begs the question: what does Easy Love now play? Given that the pool is so drastically reduced here. I mean, Xayah, to me, is the only pick that I'm seeing, and the Rakan being picked up means that I think this is likely Team Secret saying, well, if you want to pick the Xayah, you no longer have the Rakan. I think of what we've seen, you're probably looking at the likes of Azeri, maybe even a Jinx or Draven if we are going to go that deep.
Oh, it would be cool to see Azeri. I really enjoy watching Azeri, especially from a good player, and Easy Love is more than that. He's a very great player. Renata with question mark. I'm not sure.
I think Zeri's probably the front runner. I think it does struggle a little bit again.
I think Zeri kind of wants to engage or a Lulu.
Yeah, I think there's just too much to shut it down. It is going to be hovered here. And I think just for simplicity's sake, it's going to be locked in. So now Team Secret are going to go to the Smolder, which again has been played. It is a very, very deep pocket.
It was Shogun who played it and completely popped up. Okay, do not pick that, pal. That would get you competitive rulings. Not actually, it would probably just cause us to restart the draft. Yeah. Unfortunately, it is fearless draft, fellas. I know you really wish you could pick the Varus.
Oh, yeah.
And Jinx. Okay, so, I mean, when it comes to hyper-scaling AD carries, you can't get much better than the Jinx and the Zeri. 2 champions that you give them an inch, they take an absolute mile. Zeri darting through walls, offloading damage to the whole team. Jinx gets 1 reset and sprints away with the game.
Fun fact. So Eddie, I think, has the smallest champion pool of any AD carry bot laner in this competition. He's played Misfortune 5 times, Varus 3, Ezreal and Ashe both twice, and Kalista once. So this is his first Jinx pick.
Yeah.
This is his 6th champion this split.
Marble might be roughly the same, I think. The AD carries that have their preferences. But yeah, I mean, looking at the drafts, clear direction. It's all about team fighting for both of these teams. They want to be able to fight. Lee Sin starting off. If you find a nice kick onto the Jinx.
Marble's played more.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he's 8th champions team.
Damn.
Yeah, so he also still has played Misfortune 4 times. So he's getting a lot of distance out of that one. But yeah, no, we're going to see something fresh now in the spotlight. This can't have been a duo that we've seen matched up so far on the Rift.
No, definitely not. This might be our first Jinx.
No, it's definitely come out before. I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember Jinx, but you might be right. Either way, it's either our first or our second. And whatever the performance of it was first was nothing to be remembered, considering.
Yeah, no, it's been played, and it is in fact 0-1.
Yeah. But for pauses, we're 2-2 in terms of our series. Let's see. I mean, just taking stock of the map, it is just you want to, for the side of Team Secret Wales, isolate one target, get a reset for your Jinx as she starts running over the team fights. I'm going to be interested to see what build ultimately Eddie goes for.
It was Artemis that also played the Jinx.
Oh, there you go.
And lost, unfortunately. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting seeing that we are that deep into the bot lane champion pool. Last time we saw Zeri, it was in the face of an Udyr. So really, it wasn't able to achieve anything at that point because the Udyr was just so super scaled into what is just tank Udyr. So you're sitting there 2 items deep and you were barely scratching him. But this time round, into the face of a hyper scaling carry like Jinx, it might have lost one game already, but there is still a chance that Jinx just runs away with it if given the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, if you're able to isolate the correct target with the Sambessa public execution and Jinx gets the reset off that, then you're probably running away with the team fight, but it's going to take some pretty wise positioning out of the side of GAM, and they are capable of that, of course. Easy Love, the first time we're going to get to see him on the Zeri, is going to be, at least for my money, pretty exciting.
I think this draft phase has been purely because of that substitution. So you come in, you see that Easy Love's playing. You whittle down that champion pool so that those comfort picks are no longer available. Yeah. You've got to go into something that, I mean, characteristically,
Ghost.
Well
Both
down,
AD carries.
Well down the totem pole of what is comfortable AD carries at the moment. And so, look, Eddie has proven that he's capable. I don't doubt that he's a good Jinx player. But Easy Love, what is already a rough spot for his debut match has just gotten rougher.
Yeah, absolutely. Both ADs with Ghost, I think, not something we typically see, but it does sort of tend to lean into the fact that both of these AD carriers want to be able to play pretty aggressive. They want to be able to look for that reset. Eddie being able to dodge out of skill shots and whatnot is going to be very, very important for him. I mean, I don't know really what to expect. Both teams wanting to team fight.
I think it makes sense. Cleanse is not going to really do anything for you this game.
And I'm not entirely sure, but I'm like 99% sure you do not get a reset off your own team in case of the hostile takeover. If you do, however...
why not? A kill is a kill. Come on.
Imagine if it was treated like other games where you kill your own teammates so you actually lose 1 kill off your total.
Look, I think if it does give you the reset, that almost has to be like Taki's angle to stay as close to Eddie as he can so that he dies, gives the reset over, and once the hostile takeover ends, Eddie can just run rampant through the enemy team. But I mean, as it stands, yeah, Renata's going to do a lot this game, I think, in terms of punishing Team Secret, because you land a hostile takeover on Eddie, and that is all of a sudden it's just 9v1. Like, Eddie whittles away at anyone too close to him from Team Secret.
Yeah, not a very tanky team that he has. So I've been bold, I think, almost.
Well, I mean, if Dire is in the wrong position, he essentially gets like 2 shots.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's, while I say it, you know, there's only really 1 CC you have to worry about here for Eddie. It is still feeling somewhat bold to not take the cleanse. I get it. It's objectively worse to go at here, but you know, 1 hostile takeover can end the game just off you hitting your own team alone. Elio finds a nice handshake there to try and trade back some of the damage that this Team Secret Wales bot lane is finding. Of course, early game fight's a little bit more difficult for Zeri as she doesn't have the ability to auto attack you through minions. If you do have E, of course you can. You use the dash, it does start to pierce through the targets, but...
I mean, the concern would be, of course, Mikhail's is an answer to that hostile takeover, but you really want to deviate from what is a pretty standard build path for Taki on this Rakan to have that in pocket just in case Eddie does get picked. So, I mean, look, yeah, definitely going to have to be some prioritization this game. Hero and Kiaya just going at it, hammer and tongs is 2 fairly big frontliners. Kiaya.
Hero dodging out of absolutely every single Q coming out of Kiaya, but not that one. Level up now does give that extra level of safety to this Cassante. All 3v3. The game could truly break open at any minute here as both top and bottom really playing on a knife's edge just due to the amount of people around here.
Bot side.
Yeah, 4 men in the bot lane. Eddie and Easy Love going at it. A nice knock up here on the top side as Dyer is going to be late to the play from that middle lane, but Histo still playing aggressively onto Levi here on the Lee Sin. Dyer trying to round them into the rest of his team, but ultimately will not connect and have to just dip back to his mid lane. So, it's okay. Probably going to be having to concede the double Scuttle Crab here, which is a reasonably significant advantage to Levi, honestly. While, you know, all jokes aside, when it comes to junglers and the Scuttle Crab, it does give yourself a lot of extra power. That's 2 extra camps essentially picked up by Levi.
Well, the wet noodle fight in the top lane is going to result in both top laners backing and then teleporting back to lane. They were both 27 CS at the time, now both 31, 32. So it is so evenly matched, I think. Neither can really get a clear advantage. And saying that Hero is taking out a lot in these trades, but he's still smart enough to know that he should not commit. And Dyer is only level 5 and he is still chunking with that electrocute.
Yeah, both mid laners have already recalled and used teleports, so the resource bar they have active to them is all they really have to work with. They can't get that sort of cheat in.
No crazy lane swap shenanigans, or at least none yet happening in the first 5 minutes of play. Hero guy just cannot stop fighting for whatever reason.
They're keen to get that Arakan up. The Ruinous Arakan, it has to show its head. There's no kills yet in this game, so unfortunately, feels less than likely. But so be it. I think also, you know, generally in this state of the game, you'd see AD carries and supports roaming up to that top lane to flip the map on its head. But when you do have the Jinx versus the Zeri, you want to be a little bit less, or a bit more risk averse, I suppose. You want to get those items online. They both succeed a lot if they do get to those crit items, and so there's no point risking the game over a set of grubs that ultimately have been nerfed. They don't feel as strong.
Yeah, I mean, those opportunities where you're seeing just outright success when the Void Grubs are picked up are more because the team is that far ahead at that stage than...
Dyer, he does have the Between Worlds though, so he does unfortunately lose his ult, and I think that will now mean that the Void Grubs will be picked up by Levi, but it is an answer on the bottom side as this dragon is being taken out. Now, both sums were lost there by Easy Love. I'm very intrigued to see what happened because
the heal as well from Elio.
Yeah, only the Ghost committed from Eddie, and that wasn't even in that fight. That was in a prior engagement.
I think just the setup combo there between the Rakan and Jinx is very, very scary if you're not careful.
The Flame Yompers.
That's the one. Into the grand entrance. Grand entrance of the Flame Chompers. Just, you're going to be locked down for a very long time, and it is just going to be objective trade across the map.
All out now coming through from Kaya. A good dodge from Hero. Also going to be able to dodge out of the Pathmaker, but gets hit there. It's going to be very critical. He dodges. In fact, he just goes unstoppable, but he is getting very low. He's trying to turn it, however, not able to do so. I mean, these guys are just going at it. Now, Kaya out of mana. Does get a level up, so will get himself a little bit back, but I wouldn't be too surprised to see just an honorable trade of recalls coming through.
I mean, that's the thing. These guys, they're essentially risk fighting at this stage. Just, yeah, okay, sorry, I don't have the resources. Let's go back, we'll reset, we'll do it again.
The trade of those two, I mean, going this well already for Hero, obviously very evenly, but does tend to do a lot better in the side lane later on against the Cassante, so you're feeling pretty good considering how well you are doing.
Those ultimates starting to come up across the board. It's just the supports that have yet to pick them up, and to be fair, they are pretty impactful ultimates, but I mean, the Super Mega Death Rocket out of Eddie can come at any point from downtown if the setup is there from Team Secret, so it's that global threat that they need to be a little bit concerned about.
Yeah, absolutely. Both AD carries, however, feeling very good. Easy Love's going to have his Ghost back up. Eddie much the same. Flash being the noticeable difference. Elio as well does not have Flash available to himself, whereas both available here in the bot lane of Team Secret Wales. Hero, once again, will not be getting hit by that Q3, and so will Yeah, I mean, he's just doing very well up here. Staying even in CS in a lane that is not the most difficult, don't get me wrong, but it isn't by any stretch of the imagination easy.
Yeah. But again, there's only so much to really contest around at this stage. There's 3 minutes to the next Drake. There's 2 minutes to the next lot of grubs. All you're really looking to do is accelerate some of that farm so that by the time those objectives come up, you can actually start to conceivably put together a team fight, look to go for those all-ins. But for the moment, I mean, there has been a lot of just freedom given to Taki to roam around the map. There's a lot of faith that Eddie can create. He does have the flash and ghost as well, so if there is an engage, there's probably not the damage to follow up in the time that until he just gets the heck out of dodge. So he's back now. But again, they just are not non-stop fighting.
You know what I think would be a good parody song? Reset City instead of Rack City. It's just Reset City Jinx, you know? I can see it working.
There's a lot that you could, conceive of. Oh dear.
Oh, there's a lot that Hero has to do to get out of this. We'll be able to do so. The flash kick, though, as Hero does manage to create just enough distance. Gets to the correct side of the lane to not get kicked straight back into this Cassante, but now he's got to dive to navigate. Yeah, he's going to choose against it. I mean, once again, Kai out of mana, so.
Yeah. Like, I think there's a lot you could do in terms of parody songs. I definitely think there's room for a League of Legends themed punk rock band, or Levi.
Yeah, all okay, Levi. I mean, he finds a great play. Originally, the Between Worlds is there, and Dyer just needs to land one Q. There it is, and First Blood, Team Secret, Wales, strike first.
You remember that Ruinous Artican you want? It's 10 minutes in, and we've had First Blood.
Yeah, look, it's not happening today.
Yeah.
But I have faith in the Oceanic boys tomorrow.
Okay.
Well played by Hero. I mean, not the easiest of public executions to land. Does manage to do so and secures himself up a kill. And while, you know, you'd imagine now Team Secret Wales will be ahead, it actually just evened out the gold more or less.
Yeah. I mean, it's again not a massive margin that now Team Secret are up. They definitely have far from run away from this game, but giving that kill to Dyer is going to mean that he is going to be coming on a line that little bit earlier compared to Ares, and we've seen what Aurora can do when given an opportunity to blow up. And Levi, despite going down, is not wanting to give up these grubs, given that feat of monster slaying is going to likely be very important into who gets those Noxian blessings.
Yeah, I mean, this is almost certain to just be a trade, I do believe. Ultimate not available here for Hero, which could be very impactful in the fight, but it is matched by Kaya not yet having the all-out available. And, I mean, keep eyes on this Jinx, on this Zeri. They're really the two champs you're looking to funnel the gold into. GAM do a great job of, once again, taking control over this river. Dyer, again, Between Worlds not there. Shockwave is very shortly. 6 seconds, 5 as it counts down. But, I mean, Team Secret Wales probably feeling the lack of ultimate, the lack of team fight oomph, are going to wisely back away.
This is taking a wee while, though. That public execution isn't far off coming back up. They are just going to take the Drake, so it is just going to be an objective trade straight across the map. So second Drake up for Team Secret, which puts them in position for that Salt. Ares taking very hefty risk here into Hero.
Yeah, I mean, Dragon for the grubs. At least for my money, I prefer the Dragons again. I feel like I'm back on that train. Levi does have ult, but there is no Shockwave, so let's see how Hero's able to navigate it. Nice slow, and unfortunately Levi going to be missing out on that Sonic Wave. Means Hero's going to be completely fine.
Cloud
now,
Drake too.
Blue Panda, I've seen an uproar from the community. They're trying to get to know you more personally. So
yeah.
What they've basically been saying is like, yes, we all know the 17 champions in League you dislike. what are the champions you do like? Are any of them in this game?
Look, I don't particularly hate champions. I think that some are given probably more props than they're worth. I'm just a big fan of League of Legends. I think the character designs are really entertaining in terms of what they add to variety.
None more so than Ivan, though, right?
Oh, dude, you could make some plays with Ivan. I think he's still in therapy after the changes to jungle buffs and you know how they completely just ended his career.
I actually think that champ is absurdly broken.
Apparently there's someone who's just like Giga smurfing and like Challenger playing Ivern support, like as a one trick.
Yeah, there's someone on our server, in fact, that Giga Smurfs and Challenger playing press the attack full AP, Ivan. And I'm not even lying. He is... I've played with it personally, and it completely runs the Rift. It's kind of crazy what this Ivan champ can do. And particularly, not even the Ivan, it's the Daisy. If you're good at controlling Daisy, you're good at Ivan. And admittedly, that is kind of the hard part of Ivan. You know, it's too easy is it to put out the Daisy and just act like you don't have control over it. It walks into the enemy team and dies.
Yeah, pet micro is a bit of an interesting one in League of Legends. I think there is definitely some room for champions where that becomes a bigger part of their kit, not just necessarily the Daisy ultimate like we see out of Ivan, but in just terms of basic abilities becoming an integral part of their identity. So it's going to be interesting to see, obviously. I mean, we're seeing new champs all the time.
Yeah.
Someone's going to lock it down and actually get it to a point where that it's a conceivable concept that will be introduced to the game. And I'm here for it. I really do rate sort of the pet mechanics in the game at the moment.
You know, this is going to be a bit of a throwback, and once again...
Ironically enough, one of the big boss men at Team Secret didn't play League of Legends, he played the other one, but was known for his micro play in terms of controlling pets and all the rest of it. He won a world championship doing it.
There you go. As I was going to say, there's... Oh, hold up, Dyer. He is between worlds. He should be fine, but there is a lot of people down here. Nice sidestep. Can fizzle out. Rift Herald in a minute, which is probably what we're looking towards for the next objective. I mean, ultimately, Team Secret Wales can choose to just try and deny it for a minute and then trade it for a potential soul point at this stage of the game, as you know, quickly becomes a win condition, especially when you have a reset champ like Jinx. And what is it, Rakan, that just loves having as much movement speed as possible. But yeah, I think these pet champs are very interesting. I was going to say, oh, hold up, actually, there could be some action here. Levi is waiting.
You'll never get to this point.
Oh, Dyer's going to spot him out. Oh, he's not. Okay, Levi finds his way in. The flash engage is there, but the follow-up's also going to be as quickness comes in. The grand entrance, the lockdown is there. Levi and Ares, they go for the play, but it's heavily punished as Team Secret Wales will walk away with yet another victim. This time it's Ares.
Given the likelihood that there's probably not going to be anything happening now, you can go with what you were saying.
Do you remember back in the day where LeBlanc was truly not worked out yet, and people would just, instead of like microing the, or like when they'd go into that mimic form, when they'd lose the invisibility, they'd just stand still and control the clone, and people would just chase the clone.
Oh, that was big, right? People still do it. Like, you know, they did it right up until the very bitter end.
Yeah, it's less effective now, considering it is known that the clone walks off in its own direction. Hero just doing pretty well in this 2v1. Rift Herald now up and available. 1 minute on the Cloud Dragon, which, again, to reiterate, would be a soul point for Team Secret Wales. And Dyer going to be able to claim himself a tower, I believe. We are now just one kill or one objective away from Team Secret Wales securing themselves the feats of strength.
Taki, he's been caught here, but he's got the tools and the kit to jump away.
Yeah, Easy Love pops the goes. Will pop the lightning crash. He's finding a lot of damage onto Histo. Really looking to try and keep that ult available, but unfortunately not going to be able to do it. I mean, Team Secret Wales playing that perfectly. They get out the ult. They just walk on out, call it a day. Now Zeri isn't going to have ult for this Rift Herald. Also, very importantly, is not going to have it for this Dragon. Of course, priority around that objective should be there for GAM if they so chose it, but they're rather instead going to look for this Herald. Levi's already been good on the smites in this series so far, but this time it's Hero trying to disallow him in. So much damage coming through this Ambassador champ, doing the most. That is the Noxian Blessing, and now Dragon, a real big concern for GAM.
Yeah, just all priority taken by Team Secret. It's not even given by GAM. They don't have a say in the conversation, unfortunately, at the moment. And the fact that this game has already slipped so heavily into a position where Team Secret are that big a threat with only 2 kills and a tower going down is rather impressive. I think GAM are going to get to a point where they've probably given over too much respect to Team Secret and they find themselves that far behind that it likely will come down to a brilliant hostile takeover, shifting that momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, recalls do come through for both sides. Histo now hits level 11, so a little bit stronger in that ultimate, and we'll have it up just that much more often. Easy Love, though, they did manage to wait out the time for that lightning crash. He won't have Ghost, is important to note, but I mean, there's no real way to contest this. If Eddie gets the reset off the Dragon, we'll just run through the fight. Levi does find his way onto Taki, but that's going to be a reset coming through, and then they will go. The quickness still available. A nice Dragon's Rage kick, but Levi's still locked up. Taki finds his way onto 3. Ares comes in, and the public execution. Elio is going to get the ult off, but it's too little too late as he is taken down. Yes, Hero getting very low, but down comes another 2, and GAM, they are crumbling as Team Secret Wales are trying to take over the game. Dyer will not be able to get onto Kiaya, at least for a little while. Ultimately, no way really to take through this Casante's health bar. But it's Team Secret Wales quickly running away to secure themselves this 4th place position.
Yeah, look, unfortunately not being able to land the hostile takeover on Eddie means that he can just sit there and wail away with the Kraken Slayer in the back pocket, which means he gets just that much harder. I think if he'd been collected there, as we are going to go into that replay and see Taki, it looked like he'd been caught out pretty badly, but the turnaround to Levi, I have to say, Levi survives for a heck of a long time here. Eddie can't even burn through him, but you see, all of a sudden the turnaround, they jump on Elio, gets the hostile takeover, but the Ghost allows Eddie to reposition away to safety. The fact that Hezdo manages to walk out of that as well is just hugely impressive. He pops the Rift Herald so they can look to try and push through that mid lane after the fact. So even then, when he's nearly dead, he's thinking towards the next objective.
Yeah. Eddie now does secure himself his first kill. I mean, Hero flashing forward, able to take down Alio before he could have any real impact in that fight. And Easy Love as well, having to just flash on out of there. Doesn't really have that same oomph that a Jinx has when she has got that reset, particularly at this stage of the game. No real damage items to speak of as he works towards a Runan's Hurricane. With the Atakan now being started up by GAM, all 5 members here. Dyer, no teleport and very, very far away, but the reset coming through on this objective. They will restart it. Hero, you see him waiting there. Public execution up. Eddie, no summoners. Easy Love does have access to the Ghost for himself. Dyer still not in the picture. Now crossing up into this river, clearing out the top wave. Now Hero's going to be able to find a way in. Histo going to lose his ultimate very early on. The quickness used. Does get in there. Does. Hero is Dyer! Almost collects Easy Love in one foul swoop, but it is the first reset as Eddie still wailing on these health bars. Kiaya does a great job for his all-out to try and keep his team alive, but it's a shutdown. One more will come through. The Zap's great, and Eddie's greater, and it's Team Secret Wales that are dominating GAM.
It was such a slow burn start to the game. Hugely uncharacteristic for Team Secret Wales, and then boom, the trigger is hit, the switch is flipped, and they are going from 0 to 100 in seconds. And well, look, Eddie looking to just steamroll over this Jinx, getting the reset after the reset after the reset, and the fact that only 2 of them have died, and it's your Ambassador in the top lane who's still gapped the Cassante, and then Rakan, whose job is to just sort of die and make sure that his carry has that space to work with. Artican taken for free, and it looked like this was the opportunity for GAM to make a play onto something, but positioning is poor. Levi gets absolutely whomped back out of position, and they can see they've just got everything they could possibly want in that situation. The only person that really was hit by the hostile takeover was Histo, and Eddie can just clear that easily. There's just no real threat that he's going to be caught by what is a much slower Xin than compared to a Jinx. Picks up one reset, Histo's tanking, and yeah, look, Easy Love is going to be spewing after that. He thought he was away and clear, and then all of a sudden his team drags in Secret and he dies too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rough spot to be in here for GAM. They're down what is essentially 6k. And I have to say, you did miss a perfect opportunity to say 0 to Hero, because in the midst of that fight, to start it all off, he somehow threads the needle, manages to find that public execution straight on top of Ares, and completely removes him from the fight, just entirely solo. So I think, well, you know, Eddie's getting a lot of the glory, the resets are real fun to watch. It was Hero who started that off, and started off about as perfectly as you could possibly dream of.
Darky, he wants it. He wants it bad.
I mean, yeah, they've got the Voracious Atakan. They've got all the combat power in the world. Majai's picked up currently for Dyer. I mean, they're that confident. Oh, you can't lose the stacks here. They can't really defend this tower either. There's no wave clear to speak of. I mean, you got the static shiv, but that's
cracking through Nans and well on the way to what I imagine is going to be a Lord Dominic's regard for Eddie. So even Kia is going to be copping a huge amount of punishment here. RS trying to do what he can to try and shove in this mid lane, but Dai is here, has the tools, has the Magi's, is going to be hitting like an absolute truck.
Yeah,
so
look,
RS needs to run.
Yeah, look, RS is getting collapsed on the teleports there, and almost one shot. That's through a Seraph shield, and down will go RS. No reset, importantly, but in come the rest of the troops. A nice hostile takeover to at least ensure they get out, but it does cost him his flash as well.
I'm not even sure where Histo ended up running. Like, hit by the hostile takeover, he just sprints back down lane for some reason. Either the case may be, this Rage Khan still in pocket. No RS, no command shockwave, which would be absolutely...
Oh, the public executions there, the quickness and the grand entrance is just fantastic. Hero flashing forward to secure himself yet another. And it's just going from bad to worse. This game is a complete and utter stomp. It's a shellacking, and it's Team Secret Wales off the back of an amazing series against CFO. They take down one of the teams contesting for first originally to now completely wiping the floor in game number 2 after doing much the same in game number 1. Cracking open the Nexus is all that's really left to do.
Well, Flash was up 2 for Easy Love. That is rough. Runs in a straight line. Nothing you could do after that was landed. And yeah, I mean, look at the disparity. It's a 10 or 9k gold lead. There you go. It's not as bleak, but it's still pretty darn bleak.
Do not do math in public. I've learned this long ago on the broadcast. It's a dangerous, dangerous thing. Now, this is going to be the Cloud Soul picked up all, but certainly, I mean, Levi maybe comes in for the hero steal. The problem you're facing is that even if you do, you're probably steering down the barrel of an ace. Admittedly, Eddie not quite here at this fight yet. Kaya not able to find any headway. I mean, this is Ambessa. Ladies and gentlemen, the smite, it comes through. It's Histo who picks it up, and this will be all the damage. This should just be the deal sealed. There's no way out now for Kia. He's dealing with this Ambessa. Easy Love next on the menu. He's able to clear the distance for now, but look at the movement speed available to this Ambessa. He's moments away from more dashes. He's not going to be able to get there eventually, but it is only Easy Love surviving. The lightning crash there, but full HP bars across the map for Team Secret Wales as they are now hitting against the Nexus. It's Tower 1-2 down. They're looking for Easy Love just for that consolation prize at the end of it. 11k gold lead is the eventuality of the situation. 26 minutes and Team Secret Wales going into playoffs, take down 2 of our heavy hitters and lock in that 4th spot. Unless Chiefs get them 3rd.
Yeah, look, I have yet to be disappointed, I think, in Team Secret. They just consistently go from strength to strength. I mean, even when they've sort of faltered, even when they've struggled, especially that Team Talon game, they really did just, it wasn't a lack of trying. Talon came out and played a very, very solid game. They locked themselves in for at least 4th, but there is still a world, yes, where they do somehow make their way into top 3 off the back of the 8th seed taking down the 3rd.
What a storyline that would be. Can you imagine it? That we come in and we're like, okay, we've got these 3 teams competing for first between CFO, Vikings, as well as, of course, Talon. And then somehow CFO, they lose to Team Secret Wales, first of all, to start it off. Now they're in a position where they have to beat Chiefs, which of course you're going in, you're expecting it. But if they do lose game number 1 against Chiefs somehow tomorrow, can you imagine the nerves they're going to begin to feel where they could somehow find themselves going to the bottom side of our playoffs, being what wouldn't really be the underdog, but just the fall from grace that would mean. And Team Secret Wales have done a fantastic job of setting that possibility up for themselves. I mean, for my money, flawless game. There was no real moment where you're like, oh, this kind of sucked. They could have done that better. Just across games 1 and 2, it was just clinical.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is, I think, what we should be expecting from Team Secret going ahead. There were a lot of question marks coming into the split as to, you know, the hierarchy and how things would be standing. Team Secret, the 2 teams that they've lost to were Talon and Vikings, who are currently the top seeds. And I think the crazy thing is, that there really isn't all that much separating CFO and Secret in terms of skill, because you got to remember, Team Secret did actually beat them out 2-1. So I think it's a shame that the standings are looking like they're going to end the way that they are. But the reality is, if not for CFO beating Talon, Secret would have ended up third in the split.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just...
They still might.
They still might, yeah. I mean, all right. In the reality I live in, more than likely they've locked themselves in for that 4th spot, barring some heroic coming to grace from the Chiefs. But still, I mean, I just... It can't be said enough. If you are Team Secret Wales, this is exactly how you want to look coming into the playoffs. It truly looks like we've hit our stride. This is how we want to play. This is what we need to do. This is what we need to draft. They've done it. They've done it impeccably. And you look at the stats there. They gave over the Grubs to instead take, the Dragons on the bottom side. And aside from that, it was damn close to just being a perfect game.
Yeah, and I think the important thing for this this split from Team Secret, the one game that was a blowout where they lost was against Vikings, and it was the second game of the match. But everywhere else, they have never not been in a position where they could have won it, even those games that they did lose. And you can just see, this team is cohesive, they're gelled, they're playing off each other. There is just no shortage of trust, and Hizdo is such an integral part. He really is the tip of the spear for this Team Secret roster.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, in this series, you could have given it to anyone, for my money. I don't think anyone performed particularly badly. I think almost you'd say after the heroics that Hero was pulling off in game number 1, you kind of feel a little bit hard done by, but Hizdo, of course, he was sort of the playmaker in both of these games, so it does make a lot of sense. But still, I mean, you go top to bottom here in this roster for this series in particular. You could have given it to anyone, and I would have had no real arguments against it, I think. Hizdo controlled the pace of the game. He was dominating Levi, who, typically has been the most dominant jungler in the VCS and has been that way for the past 10 years. And when you're able to come in, look this good, you're a bunch of rookies, Hizdo himself a rookie, it's boding well for them. This is split number 1 of what is going to be a long year for everyone involved. And I mean, I have so much confidence. I have so much hope, and I'm just so excited to see how these guys do in the playoffs where we get to those best of 3s against each other, possibly even best of 5s.
Yeah, and I mean, the penultimate play day in the regular season did not fail to live up to sort of the hype that we've had coming into this final weekend of play. GAM, they weren't bad in this matchup. It's just that Team Secret were better. Team Secret have stepped up in a big way, and like I've said, I've been hugely impressed by the way that they have approached each and every game that they have played. Yeah, look, inconsistencies are their biggest issue, and I think given that it is only split 1, it is a very condensed split as well going into the future, they could be a powerhouse team, but you just look at the way this is all played. They've given so much space to Eddie and Dyer to work, which is really their win condition. Hero, not always on a strong champion, but is always in the thick of it, enabling his team. And then Taki's so consistent on these supports, providing space, providing opportunity. And yeah, like you said, Hero, it really is, he is a bit of hero for this roster. He does just find those openings. He really puts the pressure on to every opponent that they've played against so far. And without that, you don't see Dyer having the games that he's having. You don't see Eddie having the freedom he's having. So they just do so much to enable those big, hard-hitting champions in every team.
Yeah, I mean, again, another highlight reel from Hero as he manages to find yet another public execution on one of the carries of GAM. And it was just, I mean, I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed. They came in, week number 1. I mean, honestly, they looked impressive from the get-go. But not this impressive. They weren't this clean. We've seen games where, Hero's trying to do a little bit too much on the Ambassador, even when, he's looking for all these fights that he probably shouldn't be. But just, I mean, flawless. It was truly flawless how they've managed to play out this split, especially the tail end of it. And again, we're about to get to see them go up against the likes of Talon again. And I think all those kinks that we did see where they did fall, 11k gold ahead and then eventually going down, if they find themselves in even half that amount of a gold lead, I think they're much more capable of getting that across the line.
But I think the other thing is, Secret is, I would have to say, have been the most impactful team in terms of the overall standings, especially in that top 3. They took down CFO, who were the other team in contention for first place. In fact, if not for Secret's victory over CFO, they would be first seed.
Yeah, that's actually true. The only team to take them down so far in the split. Of course, Chiefs looking to do it tomorrow, but today's results, first of all, it was 2 2-0s. The Civil Wars end with SoftBank getting into that 6th position, now locking themselves in for that playoffs come next week. And Team Secret Wales, I mean, coming into that series, I expected a 3-game series based on how each team's doing, but Team Secret Wales, from the very beginning of game number 1 to the very end of game number 2, completely dominant.
Yeah, I think Team Secret has always been an organization that holds themselves in very, very high regard. I mean, you look at it, yeah. So 2-0. If a 2-0 happens, actually, you know what? If a 2-1 victory goes the way of the Chiefs, Secret still take third.
Yes, because they have the head-to-head.
Yeah, so CFO cannot afford to lose tomorrow. I think, again, the likelihood of them losing is pretty low, all said and done. But I think, honestly, the fact that Team Secret are in a position where they've gone from a middle-of-the-pack team for pretty much the entire run to potentially being a top 3 seed, I think is more indicative of what they're capable of.
Yeah, and look, I think for simply nothing more than the storyline, yourself and myself, we're Oceanic residents, where we typically support the Oceanic team where we can. No, listen, let me finish. There's been a lot of disappointment around the Chiefs, but right now, more than ever, I really, really hope they find the win. Not for any other reason than just imagine the come up that would be for Team Secret Wales, and a deserved one at that. But that is for tomorrow. You see it there on your screen. 2 ultimately somehow becoming impactful matchups. If Chiefs take the win, it secures Team Secret 3rd. And if Talon lose to Vikings, or if Viking loses to Talon, whoever loses is 2nd and will miss out on that first bye in our playoffs. And what an exciting time it is to be an LCP fan. I would just like it to
be said for the record, no, I'm not on the Oceanic bandwagon. I have not been for a number of play days now. I am all in on Vietnamese League of Legends. I'm here for the VCS victory and nothing else.
Generally.
No, never again. I've been heartbroken too many times by Oceanic teams. It's VCS or nothing.
Well, I mean, you're going to get to see them tomorrow. Are you okay? So predictions for tomorrow. I mean, 2-0 for CFO. I think both of us predict that. Talon vs Vikings.
I think Vikings have a chance of taking it, but it's going to be a 2-1. It's going to be a hard-fought victory, and it is going to rely on, unfortunately, Talon making much the same mistakes they did against CFO, and it likely will come down to poor drafts from them if they do that again. But purely on the numbers, Talon should take it. But I'm backing Vikings. If CFO can take down Talon, Vikings can easily take down Talon.
There you have it. Tomorrow's games. We've got a lot in store for you. The Chiefs, if they find their first series win now, will take down CFO to 4th place and get Secret that 3rd place position. And the big one, the hard-hitting one, the battle for first, it's Vikings versus Talon. It's all happening tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll all see you there.